We be live. Hi everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Look how
It's
excited people are
particularly.
in. Yeah, go on.
No, it's so funny. Yeah, what you're saying, people are so excited to go live that Nico's saying, "We be live,"
We
and
be
then Retrash is
live.
saying, Retrash is also saying, "Hello."
Yeah, they're copying us.
It's just why I was cracking up saying it.
Yeah, and also Secularity saying it's news time. Look, everybody's excited about us covering the news, and D is also saying news time, bitches. We have like nowhere. Where else do you see people being so excited, like so about the news? Yeah, we have to like tone it down a little bit right away. I think because I think the news is the news kind of bad or good. Oh, it
Uh,
started. Oh yeah, it starts pretty bad.
yes. I mean, we're starting off, not great, but
Mm,
in general,
it gets better.
the news is like pretty mixed today. We have like a pretty even split between like not so great news versus actually fantastic news. So
Okay. Wait, can you check which microphone is selected?
yeah, it's the right one. Oh, yep, it's the right one.
Okay, now it's the right one. Okay, cool.
No, it was. I don't know.
All right. Okay. Also, we're getting confirmation that Twitch people are also okay. Fantastic.
Guys,
And
go follow us on
also,
Twitch.
we have Hendut for Susanna. I'm glad that Susanna she added Susanna in the name. Because people, yeah. So Hendut for Susanna saying Namaste, Armin and Susanna, Namaste. Wait,
Namaste.
did we came up with an atheist version for Namaste? I see the material in you. I don't know. We have to come up. How do you say that in Hindi? We have to come up in Sanskrit. Like
Yeah.
I see that. Yeah. So okay. I don't
Something
want to
tells
go.
me it's not going to be as easy to say as namaste.
Namaste. Namaste. Oh, I think it will be. I think it will be something short and sweet. The atheist version of Namaste. Anyways, Namaste to all. Namaste back to you. Namaste right back at you. Oh, Assalamu alaikum. We're getting that as well. How about Assalamu nama? No, never mind. Okay, cool.
Wait. Walaikum assalam wa barakat. No. Something wa
Walaikum
barakatuh.
assalam wa barakatuh wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Anyways, we
Thank
need
you.
to get to this. We get to this. Uh, oh, look at this. Namaste for the news. Okay.
Oh, wait a minute.
Wait,
That's. I like
this-
that.
you
It's
like that?
corny, but
It's
it's so
corny.
good.
Okay. It's really corny.
Love it.
All right, we have to get to news. So we can't clap for the first news, right?
No.
No.
This first
All
news
right.
is wild.
Ooh, okay. All right, first news.
First news: Indian Muslim cleric arranged for the murder of a man for quote unquote hurting religious sentiments. On January 25th, Kishan Bolia was shot by two men in retaliation for a Facebook post he made on January 6th. Kishan's post was considered objectionable and hurtful towards the religious feelings of the Muslim community. Two Muslim clerics, Muhammad Ayub Javrawala and Malvi Kamar Ghani Usmani, were arrested on January 28th for the murder of Kishan. Two other suspects, 25-year-old Shabir Chopta and 27-year-old Imtiaz Pathan, were arrested later the same day following the cleric's arrests. Usman runs an organization whose goal is to oppose anyone who insults the Prophet Muhammad. According to Imtiaz Sheikh, police superintendent of the anti-terrorism squad, there is proof of the cleric Usmani contacting the alleged murderers via Instagram. Allegedly, Usmani arranged for one suspect to acquire a gun and arranged for him to contact the other suspected murderer. As of February 5th, a total of 8 persons have been arrested in connection to the murder, and the police are treating this incident as an act of terror.
Okay, all these mentions of guns and killing and stuff, YouTube, that's not us talking. We're just reading the news, okay? Don't come at us, okay? But what? Okay, do these people not like how hurt? are they that they are risking their like? If you just put away human the humanist part of it, like, are they not worried about themselves? Like, are they really that hurt? Because they would have probably got caught, right, and go to jail for all of this. Like, they probably knew this, but they still took the risk. Like, are they genuinely that hurt that they're just gonna
Right.
throw away? Like, let alone the people that they killed, like their own lives are also gonna be screwed for the rest of their lives. They're gonna go to jail. They're gonna be like, their families are gonna now be away from them for the rest of their lives. Like, was they like? I'm sure they knew that, and they still went away with this. Like, how hurt could you be with just like, how do this, like, I'm trying to understand how could people be so hurt by just mere like expression of ideas? Like, why is this a thing?
Yeah, Mustafa's basically saying the same thing. Like, I wonder what these plans were for afterwards, right?
Yeah.
I think, I don't know, maybe there's the possibility that, because based on reports that I've read, particularly the men who were recruited to actually commit the murder, were pretty radicalized. So they probably believe that any punishment they face is worthwhile for protecting the honor of the prophet. And, that they will be rewarded in the hereafter for their
Right.
efforts.
Oh, so
That's
Mustafa, that's Mustafa's answer. What was these people's plans for? Where did you? I was reading it. Why did you
sorry.
highlight it? What, I wonder what these people's plans are for afterwards. I guess afterwards includes eternity in heaven, right? So maybe that's the plan. But yeah, what was the other thing? Jannah. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Jannah means heaven in Arabic.
It's absolutely wild. Like, I would be really remiss if we didn't talk about this story, because we talk about so many issues happening in India, particularly coming from the extremism, coming from the Hinduism faction of things, to not cover a story like this, because like a blasphemy murder in 2022 in India, like, it's not that common. It happens. I mean, what we've talked about more recently is more from what happens with extreme circumstances with the Sikh community.
Yeah.
And this is insane. Like, I was researching online. I haven't been able to find any more detailed explanation about what this, super offensive post was, that warranted this. But what's crazy is that there was a report that was released about 2 days ago that said that some of these people involved in this conspiracy to commit murder had actually planned to kill a different dude over sharing a similar post. And they went to that guy's house to go murder him over the Facebook post that was, again, objectionable and hurting their religious sentiments in some ways, but they couldn't actually kill him because he happened to be in jail for some reason.
Wow.
And then
What the hell?
that was diverted, and then they ended up going to this guy. So like I said, now there are 8 people who have been arrested in connection to this murder. So this was like a network that was conspiring to go after people who were, insulting the prophet in some way. It's crazy.
Okay, look. Go on.
Oh, Jim Garland is saying the Sikh community, really?
Yes, they committed murder.
There were 2 lynchings in the span of 1 week, like
You
less
should
than 2
follow
months
us,
ago.
Jim. We cover these news, okay? Yes, actually, like, the Sikh community has committed more murder than the Muslim community in India in the past recently, right? Haven't they?
Well, blasphemy
What?
related murder that I am familiar.
Yes,
I'm
sorry,
aware of.
blasphemy related murder, which is like amazing because there's a lot more Muslims in India. So I don't understand how the Sikh community has managed to achieve that. So that's a new record for them.
I mean, over, to be fair, like, statistically, I don't know what it is over time. This is just like
Right.
within the past year.
Past
Yeah.
year. So we don't know. Do we know if the person that was the victim of this murder, were they like Hindu, or what were they, like atheist, or what? We
It's
don't know.
not clear to me. It wasn't really mentioned in any of the stories. Maybe people who are more familiar with the names, like Kishan Bolia, like would
Well, we don't
know
know.
what kind
There
of.
could be atheists. I mean, atheists could like
Well, yeah,
atheists in
but they
India could have Hindu or
likely
Muslim backgrounds.
yeah, that's what I was about to say. They probably have a specific background. Oh, they were Hindu. Okay. Yeah, so
Okay,
this is
because
obviously. Go ahead.
I'm worried. I'm worried about. Somebody else is saying he was Hindu. I'm worried about now, like retaliation, and then retaliation to that retaliation and stuff like that, right? Because if I don't know, like if it was Hindu, like I'm wondering if a lot of Hindus are gonna watch this and gonna be like, this is why we need like a Hindu restaurant or whatever. Like oh, we're gonna now go back. Like they're gonna use this as an excuse to go back. I don't know. All the hate speech rallies
Yeah,
that
yeah,
they
yeah.
have, and so this is going to be fuel for that fire.
It's going to be a very convenient political tool, and it's also important to note that this did happen in Gujarat, which is where in 2002, there was the mass communal violence that took thousands of lives, primarily Muslim, and so it's an area that's known for really kind of has the potential to be a tinderbox.
Okay, so random Buddhist guy apparently saying our numbers are not correct. Is it? So he's saying how Sikh lynchings Muslims 7 last year? Really 7? I don't know
Well,
if
if
this
that's the
I'm
case, I
reading.
stand corrected.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
If that's the case, then we didn't know. Seven in 1 year. Okay, we don't know if that's true, guys. We'll I'm
Yeah,
just
was it
reading it
specific?
off.
Yeah, I'm very curious if it was specifically like blasphemy related. But anyways,
Blasphemy related.
I think one thing that was also interesting to note when I was looking into this was that blank name is saying I heard that he was an atheist or rationalist.
Okay, so we don't know, guys. We don't know. Yeah. But go ahead.
What was I saying? Oh yeah. So one thing that was interesting was that a very controversial part of law called the UAPA, which is ostensibly like an anti-terror law, but it's been used and enforced in many ways that are basically like it's been used against journalists. It's been used against dissidents. So it's the UAPA is notorious for being misused to silence dissent and basically accuse people of sedition for just voicing their criticism or dissent from the government. But the UAPA was actually invoked in this case, and I think this might be one of the first like appropriate usages of this that I've heard so far. Because personally, I think considering this an act of terror like isn't. I don't think that's entirely inappropriate. There's been reports that they're going to be looking into the funding of all these people, and it was a conspiracy to commit murder for criticism of religion. That's insane. Like I consider that a form of terrorism, certainly.
Yeah, I mean it is obviously because of the motivation is religious. By the way, like when we call something an act of terrorism, it's not because of how the gravity of it, is because of the nature of the motivations, right? Like some people think if you don't call something an act of terror, you're saying it wasn't that big of a deal, right? You could massacre like 50 people, and if it was over personal issues, it wouldn't be a terrorism. And you could like an attempt to kill one person and failing at it could have been an act of terror if the motivation was political or religious for some reason, right? So people think like definitely like not calling something an act of terror means that you're like saying it wasn't that big of a deal. The intensity of it is not what makes something an act of terror or not. It's the motivation, right? So this was obviously over religion. So this is an act of terror. That makes a lot of sense for it to be an act of terror. Why? Like how? What was the distance between the first attempt at murdering the other guy who was in jail and this guy?
How quickly it happened, that wasn't clear based on the report that I read, but it seemed like a short period of time.
Okay, so read this one. Kiki is saying,
Kiki is saying the victim was a Hindu who posted a less than 15-minute clip portraying the greatness of the Hindu god Krishna over Jesus and Muhammad. He was from BJP. I can't verify this. We're getting a lot of different stories about the background of this person.
We're getting different information about
in
that.
English-speaking media, I wasn't able to find consistent reporting about his background or what he posted. So I'm not going to make any claims about that. Regardless of what it was, I promise you it didn't warrant his murder.
Yeah, no, but
Jim Garland is saying y'all don't know what you're talking about, in my opinion.
All right, which is interesting because Jim is the one that was just clueless about the fact that Sikhs had any blasphemy lynchings. So the most clueless person in our live chat is telling us that we don't know what we're talking about. That's amazing. The amount of hypocrisy is amazing.
Well, Jim, it would also help if you could write a complete sentence.
Yeah, like no, he can't. All right. It's amazing how the dumbest people are usually the most confident ones. It's amazing how that works.
Well, appropriately so, you know. Oh, one thing before we move on that I do want to note is I think that so when we are writing stories for our news or when we're putting them on the titles for our main streams, like we have to deal with character restrictions. And so I feel like the title that we had to choose to go on our website, being Indian Muslim cleric kills man for hurting religious sentiments, is slightly misleading because he didn't actually kill him himself. He just arranged for a murder. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Wait, I don't know. Can you ask that again?
So people could say that our title that we had to choose for the website, because we have a strict character limit, is misleading because this cleric didn't actually kill this man himself. He just arranged for the murder. But I don't have enough characters when I'm picking a title to actually make a fully descriptive title.
If I order somebody, I don't know, if I'm the head of the mafia and go like take care of that guy, even if I physically didn't do it, people will say you killed, like, you know. It's kind of like saying, oh, Stalin didn't kill anybody. I mean, it wasn't technically him that was pulling the triggers. Like, well, we don't talk like that. Yeah, he did. Okay?
I think sometimes my skepticism leads me to be overly specific.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's the title. We can't put like an essay in the goddamn title. But Hindu Susanna saying the victim had a 20 days old daughter. Oh my God, is that true?
Oh my God. Horrible. If true, that's heartbreaking. Overall, it's like really unfortunate, and yeah, this is not going to end well politically at all. And I just feel terrible for that person's family. It drives me insane that people get murdered for this kind of stuff anywhere in the world, but it feels particularly unusual in India.
Yeah, and then and what's going to happen is now, you know, these people are also going to make it very difficult for Muslims in India, right? Because there's going to be a lot more hatred now against Muslims as well in India. Muslims that had nothing to do with this. So there's that. Anyways. Yeah, guys, India is like short term is not looking good. You want to read this one before we go to the next one?
Kiki is saying, at least in India, the I think ATS stands for Anti-Terrorism Squad. The ATS will promptly jail people like this cleric. Had it been Germany, the UK, or especially Sweden and Canada, everybody else would have been called Islamophobes.
Okay.
As a Canadian, how do you take this, Armin?
You're suggesting that they wouldn't promptly go to jail in Canada? Like they would be like, what are you? No, Kiki. Okay, so yes, there are like baseless accusations of Islamophobia in these countries, but I'm pretty sure if an imam or anybody else was involved in murder in any of the countries that you mentioned, the police would not be like, well, we can't arrest this guy. He's a Muslim. What are you talking about, Kiki? They would get immediately arrested if it was proven that they were involved in a murder. Like, I don't know what world you live in, okay? Like, you're suggesting that doesn't, like, at least in India, the ATS will promptly jail people like this cleric. Like, so you think if this happened in Canada, the Canadian police would just let this man go? What are you talking about? So, like you're saying they would be treated with kid gloves. Yeah, but you're suggesting, I don't know. Okay, they would get arrested though. You said at least in India they got promptly arrested. I don't know what you mean. Like you're not defining what you mean. They would be treated with kid gloves. Like in general, in these countries, the jail situation is a lot more humane than other countries. So everybody gets treated better in jail in Canada than relative to these third world
I think
countries.
is referring to, when there are people who are giving warning signs of violent radical extremism, not having the CSIS go after
you're
them as
making it
quickly as
better.
they
Okay,
can.
why are you're
That's
making it
different
better?
because this person already committed something.
Yeah,
So
you're making it better. You're making a better point. He's suggesting that like he said, at least in India they got promptly arrested. I have news for you. In Canada, when you commit murder, you get promptly arrested. Okay, I don't know what you thought happens in Canada. If you commit murder in Canada, you get promptly arrested. Okay, that's how it works. It doesn't matter if you're Muslim or not. All right. All right. Can we at least clap for the next news?
yes, we can. Secular Rarity is so sweet, saying, "Yeah, this first news wasn't good, but I'm here for the long haul."
Okay. Yes, it gets better. It gets better. Okay. This one is actually, I think, very good. All right. Next news.
Next news. After school Satan club sparks outrage. So nothing like some good old satanic panic. Okay. The Satanic Temple affiliated program, the quote unquote After School Satan Club, has recently sparked a bit of satanic panic in the small town of Lebanon, Ohio. The pushback against the After School Satan's Club occurred recently, even though the club has existed around the nation for years. In 2016, Satanic Temple's co founder, Lucian Graves, announced that they would create an alternative to the evangelical and fundamentalist Christian after school club called the quote unquote Good News Club, with plans to operate in any school where the Christian Good News Clubs meet. Parents were also outraged in Moline, Illinois, after flyers about a Satan's club began circulating in the school. One parent expressed frustration online, asking, "How is this even a thing? Who approved this?" On January 20th, the City School District of Lebanon, Ohio, released a statement supporting the After School Satan Club in response to the concerned parents, stating, quote, "The district does not and is not legally allowed to discriminate against any groups who wish to rent our facilities, including religiously affiliated groups."
This is so great. I love it. You want religion in school? You want religion for children? Well, here's what you get. Here's what you get.
Yes. So
this is a taste of your own medicine. Huh, yeah.
I love this story because they specifically said that okay, so you public schools around the country are allowing this Christian Good News Club to meet. So anywhere where this club meets, you can file information. You can ask the Satanic Temple to go create their own club at that same school. So what happened at the school in Illinois and what happened at the school in Ohio is that there were parents who noticed that this Good News Club was distributing materials at their children's school. And so they informed the Satanic Temple, and then they went through the process of application, approval, all this stuff to get an alternative. So the whole idea from the TST, or the Satanic Temple, is to provide an alternative to children. And I love it. We can look at their website if we want, because it's one of the cutest things I've ever seen.
Yes, I'm gonna show that, but I want to, like, what was that one parent was saying, like, who approved this, right?
How is this even a thing? Who approved this?
Yes, but like, assuming she's like one of the, I don't know, Christian parents, I wish I could respond to her like, you did, like,
Yeah.
where were you when they were handing out like religious Christian pamphlets to children after schools and stuff, right? Where, you approved this, so here it is. Like, when you were pushing for religion, for being pushed to kids, you thought that everybody would just go along with just it being that your religion, the religion that you approve. I also want to respond to this in the live chat. So Blank's name, I don't know. I don't know if you such as no religion in school. Like, I don't know if you guys understand the point of this. This is like the best. This is not like a serious religion. This is, I mean, this is legally it's a religion, but technically it's a way to come everywhere where religion is not supposed to be. This is the best force in the United States to go and use the satanic panic as a way to be like, well, here we are, here's religion. You know what I mean? That's the entire point of this, right?
To be fair, blank name may be referring to the Christian club.
Yeah. But in case, like, I'm still gonna take advantage of his comment to make this point, okay? Because a lot of people like, why are you guys approving religion in school? Okay, this is like, we had other alternatives to make this point, like to show people how important secularism is. Like Christians also get really pissed when you all of a sudden have Islam, right? In school, like they're like, oh, we need to have religion for our kids, or in school, or in like government buildings, and then all of a sudden you have Islam there. People are like, okay, maybe not like that, right? So you're like, well, I mean, that's funny and all when they have that reaction when Islam is there, but we don't want Islam there either, right? So, I mean, Islam is like a serious religion, okay, like Christianity, okay? So we don't want to make the point for why secularism is important by spreading Islam, okay? And the other method was like the flying spaghetti monster and stuff like that. However, that one is too obvious of a joke for Christians to be like if you like start teaching kids about, like, I don't know, the flying spaghetti monsters, they're not gonna get up. They're not gonna be like, oh no, keep religion out of schools. We don't want the flying spaghetti monster. They're gonna like, what the hell is this? Okay, but the satanic temple, that's how you do it. That's how you do it, because we don't take it seriously as a religion, but they do. Okay, so they're like, what? No, save the children, and then all of a sudden become secularists. They're like, they see the point in secularism, right? And also, you want to read this comment?
D is saying this organization is making a difference. I am proud to be a member.
Yeah, talking about the Satanic Temple. Blank name, I know, like, okay, so Blank name was saying I was talking about the Good News Club. I still wanted to use your comment as a way to make that point. So I took it, if I misused it, I'm not sorry. Okay, but let me actually bring their website, because Susanna prepared this for us to show before, to see education of Satan.
So,
oh my God,
oh wait, where did it go? So this is what the part of the website that's dedicated to the After School Satan Club looks like. It's so cute. Wait, no, go up to the top. Because I love their mascot. It's like a little cute, like goofy little Satan with a little scholar hat on, like a graduation cap. Like he's got his fingers up. Like he looks so cute. And then I love educating with Satan.
Remember, if you do one finger, that's Islam. But if you do two, that's Satanism, apparently. Okay. So this is Tawheed. This is Allah is one, okay? Mm-hmm. But this is the Satanic Temple. Yeah, I like the goat more. Like, when you think like Satanism and you think about like the goat is always something very serious and something very ominous, and like looking something like creepy, right? Like when you see like the goat symbol in anything satanic related, like in movies or in, like, I don't know, there's always something like mysterious and dark. But look at this goat in the Satan, and they have the satanic logo here. It's so adorable.
I know.
And I wanted the graduate thing in his head.
Yeah, he's a scholar.
I think we're enjoying this more than the kids, but yeah, go ahead.
I know, right? When we during Christmas time, we talked about how in some Midwestern state, I can't remember which one, there was a display in the Capitol building's rotunda for it was like baby Jesus, except it was baby Satan. And I remember how you didn't like their baby Satan because it looked like a gross little, like, just straight out of the womb goat fetus. And you're like, no, like this should be cute because this is actually appealing to kids. This would actually like trigger conservatives more, which is the purpose of what the Satanic Temple does, is to be provocateurs. And that would actually upset them more because it'd be such a more obvious ploy to get children interested, which is the whole like focus around Satanic Panic, is this over fixation, or like a not so reality based fixation on protection of children, because of course we all care about the protection of children, obviously. But you know, that's kind of one of the ways to, like, the soft white underbelly of conservative propaganda is save the family, save the children, which is their cover for a lot of the other restrictive policies that we don't like, or bad teachings that we don't like. And I thought that this was a perfect example of what Armin was talking about. Like, this is what we want. This is what we're talking about. I also really like what they say. So it says, after school Satan Club mission, proselytization is not our goal. We're not interested in converting children to Satanism. The after school Satan clubs will focus on free inquiry and rationalism, the scientific basis for which we know what we know about the world around us. We prefer to give children an appreciation of the natural wonders surrounding them, not a fear of everlasting otherworldly horrors, which I thought
Okay,
was
wow.
beautifully put.
This is so great. I'm so in favor of all of this. And also, this it's also very clear at the top that this is in reaction to the Good News Club, right? Like, this is not about, like, anybody can see, this is not about like promoting a religion. This is actually promoting like science and appreciation for, you know, nature and stuff like that. But it just gets a satanic branding just to get these Christians worked, you know, understand, you know, and understanding that if you want religious privilege, then you have to accept religious privilege for anything that could legally be identified as religion, right? This is like, you know, it has all the brandings of religion without actually being religion. This is promoting science, and this is fantastic. It's like fighting for secularism while also not, you know, trying to convert kids into like promote any form of religion, because the kids could be confused. The kids don't understand the difference between religion and an active fight against religious, you know, spreading, you know, challenging secularism. So they're not like going to the kids and be like, hey, become Satanists. And that's not what they're doing. This is fantastic. Like, there's no reason why not to support this. Well, at least like right now. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's happening in the future.
What I think is hilarious. So this is this is a quote I have to read. Patty Gary Bay, founder and executive director of American Heritage Girls, a Christian alternative to the Girl Scouts, told Fox News Digital in an email, quote, at a time when youth are experiencing a mental health pandemic, it is outrageous that a school district would allow a club based on the master of confusion. It's like, this is amazing.
It's very unfair, by the way, to Lucifer to call him the master of confusion. Okay, like, just look at the record. Okay, like, God said, this apple will kill you. Okay, this is bring you death, and Satan was like, it's not true. In fact, if you eat that, knowledge is going to make you look like gods, right? And look what happened. Look what happened to the human race through knowledge. Like, they're becoming like, and they didn't die, and they have progressed because of knowledge. So who was the confusing? Like, if you want to justify what God was saying is true, that would become more confusing. Satan was like, nah, and he was the more clear. Yeah. Anyways, so
yeah. I think I want to read one more quote. So for the school in Illinois that was having a similar backlash, her position? The superintendent of the school system said in an online note to parents that the flyers aren't distributed to students, they're just placed in the lobby. And then she made some other points in her memo. And there's one that I think is very good, or two. The district approves facility use agreements with local churches. The Board of Education Policy allows for community use of our facilities. Since we have allowed religious entities to rent our facilities after school hours, we are not permitted to discriminate against different religious viewpoints. And finally, to illegally deny their organization/viewpoint to pay rent to a publicly funded institution after school hours subjects the district to a discrimination lawsuit, which we will not win, likely taking thousands upon thousands of taxpayer dollars away from our teachers, staff, and classrooms. I was like, you know, great. A lot of these people are going to continue to freak out regardless, but I think at least they can be like, okay, well, we don't want to deal with that.
Yeah. Did we read that part?
Said, can we hear the quote from Lucian at the end of the article? Are you? Oh, wait, just a second. Let me pull it up. It's really good. Sorry, one moment. Oh my God. Freaking pop-ups.
All right, I'm gonna read this one while you do that. AJ is saying this works very well in Florida. Okay, hold on, I'm reading. AJ is saying this worked very well in Florida when a Christian group wanted an after-school group in order to stop the Satanic Temple. I think that's what it is. The Satanic Temple from starting their group. The Christian group withdrew their application. Yes. They withdrew. Okay, see, it works, guys. It works. You want Christianity in school? You have to get this as well. All right. Sus? Oh. All right, so I'm going to read. So you're still doing it, so I'm going to read this. D is saying, but Allah is the best deceiver. This refers to the Quranic verse that actually calls Allah the best deceiver. And Allah brags about being the best deceiver in the Quran, which is like you would think like whoever says that Allah is the best deceiver, you would think that it would be like some anti-Islamic, I don't know, Christian parents who were like, oh, Allah is like the devil, he's the deceiver. But no, this is actually what Islam says about Allah. Yeah. All right.
D is mentioning that I actually already read that quote. And Kalo is saying, don't the Yazidis worship Satan? No, what they worship just is a word that sounds the same.
This is ISIS propaganda. What are you talking about?
It actually is. It is.
Yes. Not that there's anything wrong with like worshiping, I mean, not really worshiping Satan, but the way like symbolically, the way Satanic Temple does it, right? That's actually, yeah. What are the actual people who actually think Satan is real and they worship him? They're not called Satanists. They call it something
else. The Church of Satan.
The Church of Satan. Okay, so the Satanic Temple is the one that is atheistic, the one that doesn't actually believe in Satan. So that is the Satanic Temple. If it has temple in the name, that's the approved version of it. That's the one that is using it symbolically, and these people actually don't believe in Satan. But the Church of Satan are the loons who actually believe that Satan is real and worthy of worship. That is like, so Church of Satan, if it has church in it, no. If it has temple in it, yes. Okay.
What's interesting is the Church of Satan was actually like founded in San Francisco, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have their
Oh yes, I was trying to remember his name, Anton LaVey. That's right. So what do you think of the Satanic Bible? They have different tenets than the Satanic Temple. Like, we're both very on board with the Satanic Temple's tenets, which are fantastic. What do you think of the Satanic Bible?
I mean, it's very like, I'm not, if you're into like symbolism and like talking about magic and stuff, read it. But most of it, I just symbolically, I enjoy it more. That I don't think it's worth the time actually going through it. I mean, if you're into that, you're into that. But like, given that it's not serious, I don't think. I just prefer them doing their thing and then everybody benefit from it more than getting too much involved with it, right? There's nothing. I mean, it's better than the Bible, the Christian Bible, but there's nothing very like. There's nothing very. Anyways, I don't want to diss them after everything they do. But anyway, if you're into that, you know, then it might be interesting. I just don't have the time for it. Anyways, let's move on. Can we clap for the next news?
Yes, because this is crazy. And then actually, in the end, it turns out okay. Whoa.
Okay, we're clapping because it turns out okay at the end. All right.
Yes.
So just keep it in mind. Next news.
Next news. Australian school requires family to denounce homosexuality. This is crazy. In Australia, on January 28th, City Point Christian College in Brisbane, Australia, received complaints due to enrollment contracts that openly criticize homosexuality and impose conservative religious views. The school is asking students' parents to sign a statement that lists immoral acts such as incest, bestiality, pedophilia. I think we all know what I'm saying. We're just saying that because of the YouTube algorithm. Homosexuality and bisexuality as sins offensive to God and therefore against the school's values. The school also declared that they will accept admissions based on children's gender corresponding to their biological sex. An online petition against the school's transphobic and homophobic rules has received 141,000 signatures so far, or at the time of writing. Pastor Brian Mulherin, principal of the college, sent an email to all the parents in response to the criticism, stating that the rules are established to, quote, ensure that we retain our Christian ethos, which is the foundation of which has made the college what it is today. A group of parents decided to take their complaint to the Human Rights Commission.
So, Susanna, as a bisexual yourself, how do you feel bisexuality being put next to bestiality and incest?
Well, obviously that's not great. But frankly, I spent a lot of time today. I'm not even kidding. Thinking about, because they talk about bisexual acts. I'm like, what is a bisexual act? You either have a heterosexual act or a homosexual act. But what is a bisexual act? Like,
Threesome?
are you involved with the two at the same time?
Yeah,
like, what's going on here?
The only way you could do a bisexual act is that if you're like doing an orgy or a threesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, never mind. I was gonna ask, like, shouldn't you be telling us how to do a bisexual act? Okay, but a lot of people in the live chat are surprised that this could happen in Australia. Oh yeah, see, people are agreeing with me. A threesome.
It's the only solution. But I've never heard it said as a bisexual act before. That was just hilarious to me.
The bisexual. Like, actually, that means that, hey, wait, that means that a lot of bisexuals have never committed a bisexual act.
Exactly.
Okay, then you're failing at being bisexual. How could you? Like, I'm a bisexual and I've never done a bisexual act. I've done homosexual acts or heterosexual acts, but never a bisexual one. Damn. You have to like break the bisexual. Yeah, you're a bisexual virgin. Anyways, Mustafa has. See? All right. Okay. People. Okay. So what was I saying? I totally forgot. Yeah, people were surprised that this is happening in Australia. Like, this could happen, like something like this. I mean, yeah, I'm actually a bit surprised as well. Like, did this person apparently? Okay, so people are saying that the principal either resigned, or AJ is giving us the other version of it, like saying the principal has since taken an extended leave. So Australia is a place, at least, where stuff like this would get you in trouble. So that's a good thing.
It received a huge backlash. So they have since revoked that portion of their enrollment requirements. So that's a good thing. And yeah, it's been a huge backlash. Like, people are like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, there were legal actions that might still be taken against them. It's become a very big deal. The backdrop of this is that in Australia, there's a lot of controversy and going back and forth about this anti-discrimination law or proposed law and the verbiage surrounding it. So when you first hear about this, it sounds like it's a law that's supposed to be to protect people against discrimination on the basis of being LGBTQ. But then you like unpack it and you realize that this is actually an anti-discrimination law because it's to protect religious people from being discriminated against because of their views, bigoted views
Wow.
towards anti-LGBT people. And to be
Wow.
completely honest, I haven't covered this on the news so far because the complications of this law and the implications is something that I don't really understand. And it's a little complicated. And then the way that the different parties are going back and forth on it. So that's why we haven't covered it here, and I can't really like get into detail explaining what it is at this point. But that is the general backdrop that's happening, and I'm sure like the Australians in the chat could explain that a little bit better than I can. But this has caused a lot of controversy because the current prime minister, correct me if I'm wrong, Aussies, Scott Morrison, he is actually in support of like the church biased side of this proposed bill. And so this incident at this college, which is a K through 12 school, highlighted to a lot of people the dangers of what this kind of legislation could look like in practice, where they're saying they're allowed to openly discriminate. And the school tried to clarify that actually, well, okay, they would be mandating that children wear uniforms according to their biological sex, and you're welcome to be trans or you're welcome to be gay at their school. Basically, your family just has to agree that it's immoral, a sin incomparable to bestiality, and you're like allowed to be trans at their school. You just have to wear a uniform according to your biological sex. If you're not, that is a condition of enrollment, and it could be grounds for maybe expulsion or something. However, this particularly the uniform issue with the transgender students, I think might actually be illegal. I don't know about in Australia nationally, but maybe just within that province. So there are aspects of this that would have possibly run afoul of the law either way. But because of the huge backlash, a lot of this has been revoked, but people are still not like standing for it at all. Yeah, Kiki saying, yes, Scott Morrison is Christian and pro-Christian, very much so. I think, Secularity saying, I heard the current Prime Minister Scott Morrison is a dick. Just passing along the info. I have heard that as well.
Thank you for passing it on.
Wait, there was one thing. Yeah, so here's part of the statement of faith section of the City Point College enrollment contracts. It states that, quote, we believe that God intends sexual intimacy to only occur between a man and woman who are married to each other. Continuing, we believe that any form of sexual immorality, including but not limited to adultery, fornication, homosexual acts, bisexual acts, bestiality, incest, pedophilia, and adult films, is sinful and offensive to God and is destructive to human relationships and society. And we believe that God created human beings as male or female. I think that the principle, this is the kind of rhetoric that comes from Christians that makes me so freaking angry. Just listen to this. So this is the principle, like I said. We have always held Christian beliefs, and we have tried to be fair and transparent to everyone in our community by making them clear in the enrollment contract. We are seeking to maintain our Christian ethos and give students and parents a right to make an informed decision about whether they can support and embrace our approach to Christian education. And then this is what really pisses me off. We believe each individual is created in the image of God with dignity and worth equal to every other person. We unequivocally love and respect all people, regardless of their lifestyles and choices, even if those choices are different from our beliefs and practices. Like, this triggers me so much. I don't know. What's your reaction to that?
There's no hate like Christian love. That's what they say, right? Yeah, it's just like, it's so amazing how people could be so bigoted and so discriminatory and act like they're being loving at the same time. Nobody does that better than Christians, and it's so annoying. It's so fucking annoying. like the contrast between how hateful they act and how proud they are of being actually loving and thinking like they're better than everybody and they're
It's
just
so
moral.
fake. It's
It's
so
so
saccharine.
that's so
It's so
gross.
inauthentic.
Yeah.
It's like we know what you think. Like, who are you kidding? This whole like, oh, hate the sin, love the sinner. It's bullshit, and it's so gross. Johnny Mayer is saying it's condescension wrapped in fakeness or inauthenticity. Yeah, it's so true. One thing I will say that I agree with this principle on is when he's saying that we believe that, you know, students and parents should be able to make an informed decision about enrolling their kids here. Well, I actually agree with him on that. There are tons of students and parents who are now like, actually, we don't want our kids to go here. This isn't cool. We don't like this. So a lot of people are going to be making informed decisions about the attitudes and teachings of this school because of this incident. So that
All
is
right.
one thing we will agree on.
Yeah. Yes. On Twitch, we have to highlight Twitch comments because we want to highlight the fact that we are also live on Twitch. Link in the description. Devout Atheist Sean is saying, I'm glad that non-religious is the fastest growing demographic in the USA. Yes, and everywhere else, apparently. All right, can we clap for the next news? No.
Unfortunately, no.
Okay, next news.
Next news, Iran executes 2 men on sodomy charges. On January 30th, Iran executed 2 men, Mehrdad Karimpour and Fari Mohammadi, after finding them guilty of charges related to homosexuality. The 2 were charged with quote-unquote sodomy by force, a term used by the Islamic Republic to describe homosexual RAPE. I have to spell it because of YouTube. Some argue that the 2 were wrongfully convicted. On January 2021, 2 other men were executed for homosexuality-related charges, also from Mahrdeh prison. According to the human rights activist news agency, Iran has executed at least 12 prisoners on alleged sodomy by force charges in 2020. At least 16 were executed for similar charges in 2019 and 23 in 2018. Under Iran's harsh laws, crimes such as sodomy, RAPE, adultery, armed robbery, and murder are punishable by death. Javid Rahman, the UN's independent investigator on human rights in Iran, reported in October 2021 that Iran has been implementing death penalties at an alarming rate.
I don't even know what to add to this. This is just so horrible. Like when we have other news, when we complain about like issues, and then all of a sudden we get something like we talk about discrimination against gays, in schools, and then we're talking about secularism being challenged maybe in the United States, and all of a sudden we get to something like this in Iran, and then it's just like a whole other level. Like this is like the fact that this is still happening. It's unbelievable. By the way, I think the recorded numbers of how many gays have been executed in Iran since the Islamic Revolution around 40 years ago, 43 I think now, is more than 3,000. But that's only the numbers that has been managed to be recorded. The actual numbers are probably higher. But like it's still going. Like this is not something like a lot of people assume that was like early years in the revolution, like I don't know, like the 1980s. But no, like these people are just like still just going out and executing people for victimless crimes. Apparently, still going on. You would think like yeah.
What I find interesting is that their charge was sodomy by force, meaning that this was the charge is that it wasn't consensual. But in your, I don't know how much you're familiar with this, but is this accusation that it was involuntary, that it was non-consensual, used against people who actually were engaged in something consensual?
So yeah, so we don't know. Okay, here's the thing: even if this was non-consensual, execution is like should be off the table. And by the way, just another reminder that Iran has executed a lot of people, a lot of gay couples with like charges that has nothing. So for example, so two things, right? Iran is per capita, I mean, total number wise, I think Iran is the only number 2 when it comes to executions, only after China, which is unbelievable because the population of Iran is like ranked. It's not like China if ranks number 1, Iran ranks like 17 or 18 or something like that, right? So the fact that Iran is number 2 in total executions, it's unbelievable, right? So I think on a per capita basis, Iran is like number 1 in executions, right, in the whole world, right? So, but also I don't like you could never trust the accusations here because like a lot of people like in Iran, for example, get executed for being spies or waging war against God over like minor things, sometimes over just like being anti-government or saying something that they shouldn't have, right? So they could just put anything in the paper, and I think for making this more internationally acceptable, they could always execute people. Like they could always like what was the official thing that they said when it comes to the consent part?
Well, they were charged with sodomy by force.
Sodomy by force. What does that? Are they actually okay? Yeah,
It's a
if
way
they
of saying homosexual RAPE.
RAP. Yes. So here's the thing: the penalty for it, even if it was not by force, will still be death. So that's how it works. But we're against. I mean, I don't want to. If it is true that this was not consensual, then obviously I don't want this to be compared to because most gay relationships are not like that, right? So I don't want this to be if we're saying that they shouldn't have been executed, we're not like putting them in the same as group as all other gay relationships. Like that's not what I'm trying to do here. It's just that we're against executions. Period. This was suggested to you by Music Guy.
I think it was.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So Music Guy saying it's common that they throw RAPE accusations to make it justified to the citizens. Well, it's not just about these accusations that they throw in. It's like, but all we have seen them adding stuff to the charges for all forms of executions. It's not just like when it comes to it's not just the sodomy accusations that they might be adding to it. Like I don't know much about like this is not the area that we have been involved in covering the leaked information out of Iran. The area that we have I have had more experience in like talking about and covering when it comes to news coming out of Iran is the political side of it. And we know based on that they do add a whole bunch of accusations to a charge to justify an execution. Like that we know that they do, okay? But that by itself doesn't prove that they have done so here, okay? This could legit have been a non-consensual case, right? But but we but we don't know because we can't trust the Islamic Republic of Iran, and they do have a record of adding to the accusation, adding baseless accusation to something that already has happened. Like you know, in situations where something is punishable by death, but they know that internationally it will not look good if they go carry out with the executions. There has been cases where the executions haven't gone through, right? So if they really want an execution to go through, they would have to add stuff that didn't happen, right? Like, yeah, I don't want to give examples. Wait, hold on. Like Naveed
Afkari.
Afkari, yes, Naveed Afkari, right? Like he was part of the Alban protests, right? But they added a murder to his accusations, even though it was clear based on the evidence that that didn't happen, right? So, like, and they had no evidence for the murder accusation. So we do know that they just like randomly add stuff to the case just to be able to kill somebody. But yeah, do you want to read anything else?
Oh no, I wanted to make a quick correction. When I was saying that, according to the Human Rights News Agency, like they've executed like so prisoners on sodomy by force charges in 2020, and then years prior, like 2019, 20. I made a mistake. It was actually just on alleged RAPE charges, not specifically sodomy by force.
Gotham is what I say accurate? Like, I want Gotham to confirm what I'm saying as well. Do you want to highlight some of the starred comments?
Let's see what we got here. Kiki is saying, if Iran must execute people for sodomy, why not start with the clerics? I'm sure.
Oh no! Wait, no! Don't read that one. No,
why did you highlight that?
I don't know, because I didn't think Kiki would say something like that, and we were tagged. Kiki, what are you doing? Can you please not promote violence here? We're like, yeah, like, please don't. I don't know, like, I don't know why I highlighted that. That's good, kid. Since YouTube, we don't endorse any form of violence against any group of people. Okay, so, Jesus Christ. Sorry, I didn't know Kiki was saying something like that. Sorry, I shouldn't have started.
That's okay. Rudresh is saying, I think Saudi Arabia is ahead per capita in terms of executions. I think Saudi Arabia is ahead in per capita. Iran is ahead in absolute numbers.
No, I don't think so. Am I wrong about this? I think Iran is ahead of every country per capita executions per capita. I think Iran is way ahead of Saudi. Oh my God, I can't spell. I'm pretty sure Iran is. Yeah, I have to look this up, but I'm pretty sure Iran is ahead per capita. Execution per capita by country. Wait, am I wrong about this? Sorry. Do you want to read some other things while I check this out?
Well, which country has a higher population?
Well, no, we're talking per capita, so that wouldn't matter.
Well, no, Iran, I'm also just curious.
Well, Iran has a lot bigger population. So total number wise, we agree. Wow, you're right. Maybe Iran is ahead. Jesus, I didn't know that. No, I'm sorry. Saudi Arabia seems to be ahead. Well, this is based on 27 numbers. Data.
What do you mean 27 numbers?
2007, sorry.
Oh, 2007? Yeah, no, we've had much more updated information since then. I remember in 2020, Amnesty International released good new statistics about this kind of thing. And from that, I remember Iran being number one.
Yeah. Public. Yeah, okay. So I have conflicting information. I'm seeing Iran in some, and then Saudi Arabia is ahead in some others. Countries number, Iran is 20. Okay, no, it's Iran. Nope, it's Iran. 20 countries with the most confirmed executions. Okay, I have 2019 numbers, and it's Iran.
Wow.
Yeah,
holy cow.
Iran takes. Yeah, so that's okay. I'm getting contradictory information based on different sources, but I think it's Iran.
You know, I don't believe the numbers that come out of China, though.
I mean, even if you don't believe them, based on the records that we have, they're number one in total number. So if you just add to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cousins, I knew we were at the top. Yay, we're number. No, never mind. I should do that. Okay.
No bueno.
No. Sorry. All right. So I'm not so sure anymore. I have to look into this, but I think we had Amnesty International reports that showed Iran was number one, like recently, like just 2 years ago, that we had numbers that showed Iran was number one per capita. Anyways,
that's what I remember.
Yeah, that's what I remember as well.
I could be misremembering.
Yeah. Anything you want to highlight in the comments before we go to the next news?
Nope.
Okay, I'm not gonna read that one. All right. Can we clap for the next news?
You know, yeah, I don't think so.
How about like unenthusiastic clap?
It just made me laugh.
Next news.
Next
Me.
news.
Yeah.
Hindu holy men demand that India be declared a Hindu nation. On January 29th, a gathering of sadhus, or holy people, or kind of saints in Hinduism, passed a resolution that called for the Indian government and the state government of Uttar Pradesh to declare India a quote-unquote Hindu Rashtra, or Hindu nation. The group also demanded the release of the recently arrested militant hate leaders Yati Narsinganand Saraswati and Wasim Rizvi, who changed his name to something long that was Tyagi. Narsinganand was arrested earlier this year on multiple charges, including inciting violence, specifically against Muslims. Along with him, Wasim Rizvi is also at the forefront of the extreme right-wing movements in places like Uttar Pradesh. Narendra Anand Giri, who organized the gathering of the sadhus, also implied the threat of a possible bombing if their demands are not met. The group plans to force the current administration to adopt their call to turn India into a Hindu state by influencing Hindus across the country to start writing and terming the country a Hindu Rashtra. So this was wild. There's so many different aspects of this story that I have to get into. I don't even know where to begin. So this was happening at a meeting. It has a specific name, but it's like a meeting that happens at a festival, and they apparently are like passing resolutions. And so I'll just take this one at a time. So first of all, they want India to be declared a Hindu Rashtra. So this partially is something they want to be done officially. But then they also have this plan where they are going to they're going to, do this from the ground up. Whether the government officially does this, they are going to force the government to do this because they are going to influence Hindus or Indians to just, instead of writing India, they will just be automatically writing Hindu Rashtra. Or when referring to India, they will just say Hindu Rashtra. So the idea is that the government will be forced to recognize India as a Hindu Rashtra just because that's how everyone talks about it, right? So that's one thing. Two, they are demanding the release from jail of these two people who were arrested for inciting calls for genocide against Muslims within the past 3 months. And they implied that they would follow oh, wait, this is a cute comment. Forever Stormy is saying, look at Susanna pronouncing Narsinganand's name like a total pro. She makes so much effort. India owes her a thank you. Oh, thanks. That's like one of the only things they can say relatively correctly. But this is absolutely crazy, Armin. So do you know who Bhagat Singh is?
No.
You're probably familiar with him. So if you're around Indian atheists, they will oftentimes tell you, read I Am an Atheist, Why I Am an Atheist by Bhagat Singh.
Wait, is that the guy who died on March 23rd?
Yes, I think so.
Oh.
He's often pictured wearing like a little slanty hat. He's young. He has like a little mustache. So he was a revolutionary when India was fighting for its independence. Yes. He was a socialist. He was an atheist. And
I keep some people keep now I remember who this I remember his picture. People keep telling, like, sometimes we are told by some atheist Indians to celebrate him, and then we do, and then some other Indian atheists are like, no, not this guy, he was a radical, he was like violent.
He was a
like,
radical.
Oh.
He
did
so
we don't know what
things that I do not support and killed the wrong people. Not that there's like the right people, but like he didn't even do what he was trying to do, which was very violent, correctly. Anyways, so then he was executed for his role in the revolution, and he's still very celebrated, even though he is controversial for those reasons. So at this meeting, the someone said, let me see who it was specifically. Oh yeah, so Narendra Anand Giri, who is one of the people who put on this meeting, then drew a bizarre parallel between the gathered sadhus and the revolutionary freedom fighter Bhagat Singh, who bombed the Central Legislative Assembly in Delhi in 1929 in protest against British law. Quote, if the government delays their release, meaning the release of Tyagi and Narsinganan, if the government delays their release, there may be an incident like the bombing of the assembly, for we are ready to become Bhagat Singh.
Wow.
And then when reminded that Bhagat Singh was an atheist...
Wait, but that's our radical. You can't take our radicals. You're Hindu.
Wait. When reminded that Bhagat Singh was an atheist and a socialist on the opposite side of the political spectrum from the Hindu Rashtra advocates, Giri said, quote, I don't know anything other than that India was partitioned on the basis of religion and that we are already a Hindu Rashtra.
Okay.
This is crazy.
That's insane. All right, so Bobo is pointing out that he started as a communist anarchist and then became less radical later. And also, Bengali Hindu is also saying he killed a police officer, but later he condemned violence. I mean...
Yeah, he killed the wrong person, too.
Okay, maybe, like, I don't know how much I don't know how forgiveness works, okay? Maybe I need to ask a Christian. But I don't think I mean, I'm not comfortable supporting somebody who killed a police officer, so maybe I'll okay, I don't know, but at the same time people could change, but I don't know if you commit murder, like how much, I don't know how, yeah, I don't know. All right, so I don't know whether or not we want to be supportive of this guy.
Well, yeah, okay? I really oppose violent radicalism.
Yeah,
but this is a whole different subject.
Okay. All right, so, you highlighted. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so there's other stuff I want to get into in terms of this story because it is crazy. So they also want the Modi government at the federal government and then Yogi Adityanath at the state government with Uttar Pradesh to ban the use of the words minority and majority, which is crazy. Bulbul sent this to me and I just replied like, so we're just banning adjectives now? We're just banning adjectives now.
Jeez.
Like, this is just descriptors of groups. Inherently, one has to be the majority. One is going to be the minority. God damn it. I'd just like to emphasize how radical this is. They basically started advocating for the approach of China. Wait, let me find.
Whoa.
Yeah, no, it gets crazy. Guys, let me find the exact quote.
How big of a deal are these people?
This is pretty prominent. These there was a lot of different groups that seemed to be part of this larger gathering, but one of them was the Dharma Sansand, which is the groups that were responsible for these massive hate rallies that happened in December. So it's.
Do you think all of this is going to lead? Like, I feel like we're like. Okay, I don't know. People see trends where trends don't exist. Okay. But based on my flawed like trend detector brain, right? Detecting brain, if I know I can't be relying on this, but I feel like something really bad is about to happen. Do you know what I mean? Like all of these incitements, like I feel like something huge. Again, I'm hoping that I'm wrong about this. But this is all, I mean, if you look at history, which again, this is not a reliable data analysis, way because, things are different. Like just because things worked out in one way in history, it doesn't mean it's going to repeat itself. But we've seen what this kind of language gets you, right? And I just feel like if something really bad happens in India, like something really, really disastrous, a lot of us are going to be like, yeah, I guess like it's not surprising, you know what I mean? Like there was a lot of build up to this. I mean, at least we had like, I mean, I know I can't rely our brain when it comes to seeing trends, because we see trends where it doesn't exist, right? And history is not like a mathematical science that you could rely on just to be able to predict what's about to happen. But we had that genocide expert also warning, like we had experts like telling me like this doesn't look good, right? So, anyways, like I'm just saying, like this is really worrying. Like if all this talk, some people were comparing it to like, I mean, we've seen this in Germany. Like this is exactly the kind of language, the kind of things that built up to that. This is like 1930s Germany, and we know what happened after that. You know what I mean? But again, I'm not saying just because it happened. Like I don't want to do the slippery slope fallacy, so I'm like giving you a lot of like, this could be wrong. But again, it is worrying. Yeah. But go on. You want
It's
to
definitely
add
worried.
something?
I actually like worry about the safety of my Muslim and ex-Muslim friends in India. I like try to check up on them and like ask like, how are you feeling? Do you feel safe? Like, because at the same time, I'm also very aware that because I so frequently get the worst news directly delivered straight to my inbox, that my perspective on how big the threat of just any like Muslim is in their day-to-day life, it might be I might what I might think it is might actually be very disproportionate to what it actually is. And I know for a fact that it is very highly variable on your location. Um, but some of the other things that were talked about in this meeting, I have to talk about. So the sadhus, or the saints, also said that quote unquote patriotic Muslims were part of the family, and a decision to intensify their homecoming campaign would continue. So what they're referring to is conversion, quote unquote, back to Hinduism. So Gwarwapsi, meaning homecoming. So they're saying, oh, well, the patriotic ones are the ones that will become Hindu, basically. And then there was another quote saying, quote, Islamic Jihad is a big threat to humanity and the world. To crush it, the policy of China will have to be adopted, and it can be stopped by imposing sanctions as China has done. So in the quotes that I've seen, it's not entirely clear what he's referring to. But this sounds to me like they're referring to what's happening to the Uyghurs. People like, tell me if you think I'm out of pocket. But I don't know how else to interpret that. There was another crazy
We
quote.
do have a lot of live chat comments.
Oh yeah.
That we also, yeah.
They also basically said that conversion should be treated, meaning conversion from Hinduism to any other religion, because it's totally fine. It should be encouraged and intensified if it's converting back to Hinduism. But conversion should be considered as treason and therefore
Wow.
punishable by death.
Oh my God. What the hell? This is Sharia.
Yes.
What? This like the fact that they're comparing it to treason. Are they reading hadith? Like this is like, what the hell is happening? Like, do they not see that they're becoming the thing they hate the most? They're acting exactly like that. Like, what is wrong with you guys? Do you not see how? And then they get upset when we compare them to ISIS.
Right. And they go burn down a former minister's home.
Yeah,
It's
because they
freaking
were
crazy.
compared to ISIS. And let's read some.
Yeah, let's read the highlighted comments.
Yep.
Wait, Bubble's so funny. Saying Islam is a threat, so let's impose Sharia. Lovely.
Look, guys, like you don't understand, but like the language, it's not just like they're like advocating for violence. It's just that, like, if you're familiar with the way Islam talks about this, what they're saying is like, are you sure we're talking about Hindus? Like, I'm not saying like only Muslims are capable, like only Islam is capable of promoting violence. I'm just saying the way that they're talking about the justification for violence, it just sounds a lot like the way Islam does it. So it's not just the violence, it's just the branding of it. It seems like also like very similar. It just seems like they're copying, you know what I mean? I don't know. Anyways, let's go to the star.
So this is the final thing that I wanted to bring up. Bulbul is saying they also wanted the government to declare Subhash Chandra Bose as India's first prime minister instead of the secular Jawaharlal Nehru. Literal revisionist history. Yes. So they want to change who is considered the first prime minister of India. Literally. And who they want to change it to is this guy who is celebrated for being an incredible fighter in India's fight for independence. But what is a major problem, ethical problem with his legacy is that he openly supported the Axis powers. He worked very closely with them, and he worked with Adolf and was fully aware of what was happening to the Jewish people. Big fan of fascist Japan, not
This is why Mein Kampf is such a top seller in India. It is a bestseller in India. Yeah.
What I think is so interesting, though, is that revisionist history, or an open efforts for history revisionism, is something that is so characteristic of fascists. Yes. You see it time and time again across movements.
You're right. Why do fascists always act like each other? It's so, even if they're not talking to each other, they always sound like each other, whether it's Islamic fascists, Hindu fascists, or white nationalists, fascists. They don't communicate with each other, and they always end up acting exactly the same. Well, not exactly, but yeah.
Just way too blatant similarities. It's very, seems to be part of the personality traits or temperament that just kind of always is very consistent. Atheist on YouTube is saying they want Hindu Rashtra, total Hindu nation, LOL. They have to point if Pakistan can be Islamic Republic, then India can be Hindu Rashtra, but it's not a good idea. Yeah. It's not a good idea. I don't know why you would want to follow the model of Pakistan.
Yeah, so Katie was confirming that I was correct about the date, but yeah, this one.
Rudresh is saying lots of Indians feel that India is behind China because of democracy, and going the China way will make India a superpower. This is what Armin always talks about in terms of the short-term games of authoritarianism versus the long haul of democracy. Democracy does take longer.
Yeah.
Bulbul is saying, I'm an upper caste Hindu and I don't feel safe in India because I speak out against Hindutva.
Be safe. Take care of yourself.
True. Random Buddhist guy is saying, it's an exaggeration. 1990s India was much more communal, and 1930s-esque Yahtzee Germany. And let's not forget that 40% of Indians are below 20, a good chunk of them who are becoming less religious. I think this is a criticism towards you.
Yeah, but that's why the younger generation, I always highlight that as a that's why I always say that I am very, very optimistic about India's long-term future. Okay, but these 20-year-olds are going to take it's going to take a while before they get old enough to replace all of these religious morons. Okay, so but I am, against all the news that we keep hearing, the fact that the younger generation in India is a lot more progressive means that India's long-term future looks very bright. Again, I can't be sure about anything, but India's long-term future looks very, very bright. I am very optimistic about that, right? But short-term I'm very worried about the next couple of years. Again, I'm hoping that fear is and also when we compared something to Yahtzee Germany, okay, we're not saying it's going to be that bad, okay. Comparisons doesn't mean it's not equivocation. Is that the word, right? Comparisons means equivocation. Sorry. Comparisons doesn't mean it's going to we're not exaggerating. If we see some similar trends, for example, when we compare the concentration camps in China, when we compare that, oh yeah, this is going back to, before the big H in Germany, when we compare China's actions to Germany, right? Or when we compare Putin's actions right now to Adolf, we're not saying it was as extreme, and we're not suggesting that it's going to turn that bad, but there are similarities, right? So it's not an exaggeration unless we're saying it's going to turn into, like, I don't know, 9 million people dying in camps. We didn't claim that, right? We didn't claim that that's how bad it's going to get. Okay, but there are some similarities. But yeah, I do try to remind people that there are many good reasons for hope for the long term of future of India. But you have to admit, short term things look dark. Short term things look like they're getting worse. And also long term economically, I think India is going to become an economic power, and people's lives just becoming better makes them less religious, like on average, not always, right? So that's also, it's not just that the young people are less religious. It's also the fact that the per capita, the GDP per capita in India rising in the future means people are going to focus more on economic activity, trade, their own lives, making their own lives better, than creating a fucking Hindu restaurant or whatever, right? So there's that. Yeah. So I think I do a good job in focusing on the good, not just the bad. The problem is that we do seem to be like focusing about too much on the bad, because we are an atheist channel, and when the topic is religion, naturally things are going to be more bad news, right? Like if we were talking about everything India related, not just the religion side of it, then it would be a better mix of good news and bad news. But because of the nature of the channel being about the religion, unfortunately, a lot of it is going to be bad news. But a lot of the good news from India is not religion related. So that's why we don't cover that. But we do look for it. We do look for excuses to cover good news from India, right? Anyways, here.
Kiki is saying, as always, what will happen in the Hindu Rashtra? Brahmins and other upper castes will take the mantle, and others will eventually be relegated to the trash heap. In practice, that's something, I mean, of course, that's one of the big concerns, although a lot of these people, try to front like they're for, caste equality. So Bulbul is talking about Subhash Chandra Bose, saying he went and made a deal with Adolf to release Indian prisoners of war who were fighting for the British, and then used those men to make his own army against the British. Yes. There's a lot of infamous photos, well, maybe not a lot, but there are infamous photos of him meeting with Adolf. Shaking hands. Kiki is saying Hindutva shouldn't be called ISIS. They should be called HISIS, Hindu state in the Indian subcontinent, instead. I'm not going to lie, that's freaking genius. HISIS, Hindu state in the Indian subcontinent? Like, it's so good. It's perfect. Secular Sakai is saying, would a hypothetical theocratic India seek to annex Sri Lanka, Pakistan, or Nepal due to historical claims?
I think some of them have been open about that being their goal. So, yeah.
Oh, well, just in the same way that ISIS will post these memes that shows, like all the way from freaking Indonesia to the Maghreb, like in the black
Rome.
with the Sahaba, like we're taking over the world. Like I've seen the same memes from Hindutva people where like half of Asia is suddenly orange saffron.
Yeah, but they say well, at least we just want to take Pakistan, Bangladesh, and just like half of like, I don't know, the entire Indian subcontinent,
Nepal,
maybe
all the way down
Malaysia,
Southeast Asia,
Indonesia. Right? But they say, well, at least unlike ISIS, we don't want to take over the world. Like, so that's a good
Oh my
they're
God.
like because ISIS wants to like take over like they were like they want to put like the black flags over like the White House, right? They want to take the entire world. Like hey, we just want to take over these all these other sovereign independent countries and make them all a Hindu nation, but not the United States. So yay us. Like not Canada. We're not gonna go for Canada. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, read this one.
Random Buddhist guy is saying, true, a lot of these Hindutva schmucks are unemployed people who have no economic mobility. You know, that's what I think about when people are bombing me with the most like vitriolic and graphic threats you can think of. I was like, no one would do this if they had like the time. I don't have like who has a job has the time for this kind of crap.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah. One thing I want to mention is that I heard a lot of these people, like, when they want to talk about, like, I hear, like, the Hindutva talking to their recruits about why what they're doing is important, is that they bring up the idea, like, I mean, how many Islamic countries are there? I know there's, like, more than 20 Arab countries. How many? I think, like, there's 40. How many Islamic countries? Um, Okay, worldwide there are about 30 countries with Muslim population. Okay. So I mean, I don't even know how you define an Islamic country. Just because you have a Muslim population, doesn't necessarily mean that you're an Islamic country. But anyways, like but their narrative is that they ask their like the Hindutva, like they have new recruits or people who are like going hiring people to like not hiring like motivating people to go and like fight love jihad or go like mess people up or stuff like that, right? So they tell them the reason why what they're doing is important. They ask them how many Islamic countries are there, right? And they people give an answer like I don't know 30 or 40 or whatever, and they ask them how many Christian countries are there, right? And then they give whatever answer they come up with, right? And then they go, how many Hindu countries are there? And the answer is like just one, right? And they're like, this is why what we're doing is important, okay? Because and this is why India needs to become a Hindu nation, right? Because and Jewish people have Israel, like that's why also they feel like, oh, like we're just being like Israel, like, and this is why they feel the nationalists in India feel a lot of like, oh, we're just like Israel, like they feel like Israel is the way to go because they relate to the ethno nationalists in Israel, right? Like because Israel also has like one country that's supposed to be a Jewish country in the entire world, right? They're like, oh, Muslims and Christians, they have all these places where they could go and that's their home and they have a sense of belonging and they feel safe and it's a place where they could be protected against all this abuse against them, right? Like India is supposed to be a home against for a place like just like Israel is supposed to be a place where if things turned really bad against Jews around the world, they could go to Israel and Israel would provide them protection. They're like India needs to be that for Hindus, right? All across the world, right? Um, so that's the argument for why they need a Hindu nation, right? Which is again idiotic. When they keep this is the response, like the way I look at it, they're like, oh, we have this many Islamic countries and this many, I don't know, Christian countries, so we do need to defend. Um, we do need to defend and having a Hindu country, a Hindu nation. It's kind of like to me, it sounds like, well, these countries get to be shitholes. Why can't we also be a shithole? That's what it sounds like to me. Like, yeah, like, hey, look, we have these are Islamic countries. Like, yeah, they shouldn't be Islamic countries. There should be a country, we shouldn't have Christian countries or Islamic countries, right? We shouldn't have a Jewish state. Okay, we should have a state where Jews can feel safe in, but it shouldn't be a Jewish state, right? So they're competing with the rest of these ethno-nationalist or religious theocracies into making their own countries a lot shittier, and they're like, hey, yeah, can we have some of that shit here as well? Like, you shouldn't, just because other people are ruining their country, you shouldn't try to outdo them, and you are outdoing most of them. I mean Hindu nationalists in India are outdoing a lot of Islamic countries. The only Islamic countries they're not outdoing are Saudi Arabia, Iran, Pakistan, maybe the Aceh part of Indonesia, Bangladesh, But all the other Islamic countries, the Hindutva is outdoing them in
In
making
terms
their
of,
country, in terms
oh,
of fucking their own country, right? Like turning it into a shithole. Like who out? Like yeah, like they're Tunisia is better. Tunisia, Malaysia, with all the shit is happening there, is better than India. Tunisia is better than, like, yeah, a lot of Islamic countries are now better than India. So yeah, congratulations. Like imagine how fucked do you have to be for you to be able to do worse to your country than Islam is. Like how, yeah, that's quite an accomplishment.
Katie is
Anyway,
also pointing out that propaganda that, oh well, how many Hindu countries, majority countries are there, and that's the whole reason why it needs to be protected. Saying that's not even true. There are other countries with a Hindu majority like Nepal and Mauritius.
but don't they want Nepal to be part of this Hindu nation? Like, aren't they going to be invade? Like, isn't their plan to invade Nepal eventually? Like, I thought that was their plan. Like, don't they see that as part of the Hindu nation that they are like claiming to be one thing? So I don't know if they see that as separate. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
Maybe it's not that they would invade or take over. It's that they would just
Just
all
willingly
lovingly come back
come back
and
home.
come
Come
back
home.
home to Mother India. Come back into the bosom, my
Jeez.
long lost child. You've been gone for too long.
Kiki is saying no plans to invade Nepal yet, but they sure supporting members of the former monarch. Yeah. Okay, Katie's saying, I mean, there are maps of Hindu Rashtra stretching from mid Europe to the South Asia. What is that? Southeast Asia, right? Mid Europe? No. Mid Europe? Come on. I don't
Well, because a
think
lot of
so.
Hindutva people, they argue that actually the whole world was once Hindu, or that all religions have their origin in Hinduism. So you're like, oh, well, they don't say that it's going to take over the whole world. I'm like, some actually do say that.
No, I mean, I can't. But how many? Wait, like is okay. Okay, wow, amazing. Mid Europe, would that cover like the Middle East as well? Then, if they're going all the way from India, like, wait, do they want to like take
Maybe they're
over? Like,
following like Romani migration. I don't know.
I don't know. Okay, that's weird. Wait,
I'm performing Gwarwapsi Nation Edition.
okay. All right, let's move on.
Yes.
All right, can we? Oh wait. All right, can we clap for the next news? No.
Well,
I mean,
it's
it
not,
has what?
it's no one is
Oh.
explicitly hurt in this news. It's a larger conversation.
Oh, okay. So we can clap. Next
Yeah.
news.
Next news. Egyptian bill to jail wife beaters reignites religious debate. So in Egypt, on February 1st, Amal Salama, a female lawmaker, proposed to the Egyptian parliament that the penalty for wife beating should be increased. According to Salama, the current penal code in Egypt does not provide, quote, appropriate penalties for domestic violence. Currently, there is no law that specifically criminalizes domestic abuse against women. Salama is proposing imprisonment of up to 5 years for domestic violence. This bill reignited conversation in the Arab-speaking world about the religious proclamations on wife beating, and specifically focused on comments made by Ahmed Al-Tayeb, the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar Mosque and the former president of Al-Azhar University, one of the world's most important centers of thought for Sunni Islam. Al-Tayeb had stated in a TV show 2 years prior that, quote, wife beating is not an imposition or sunnah, but it is permissible to confront the disobedient wife and break her pride in order to preserve the family. Mabruk Atiya, a professor at Al-Azhar University, also opposed the proposed legislation, stating that, quote, wife beating is fixed in the Quran and Sunnah with specific controls.
Yeah, I mean, wife beating is one of the most clear Islamic teachings in the Quran, not even in the Hadith. Like, anybody who tells you otherwise is either lying to you or like they're completely ignorant about. Like, this is like one of the clearest commandments in the Quran. It doesn't even say that you're allowed to beat your wife. It commands you to beat your wife if they are not, if they're being disobedient, but if you fear them being disobedient, right? Like there's two other things you have to try first, which is giving them the silent treatment is the first method, and then you kick them out of bed, and that's the second treat attempt. But if you still fear disobedient, the Quran clearly, anybody that tries to translate this otherwise is full of shit. Okay, clearly tells you that you have to beat them if those two other things don't work, right? So how are they justifying this in Egypt? Because this is like going against Al Azhar's university, going against Islam. This is a clear Islamic teaching. So making that illegal, wouldn't that be un-Islamic? Like, how's that working out?
That's basically a lot. That's basically the origin of a lot of people's attitudes towards opposing this kind of thing. There was some opposition about the draft law because it at first was specifically about violence against women, which is unconstitutional, which is supposed to be equality of sexes before the law. Like, I agree with that fully. That's a different matter. But in terms of getting this on the table in general, in terms of preventing violence against women, here's a quote, but there are still a lot of hurdles for the amendment to succeed. Already, some have argued that non-severe beatings by men for the purpose of disciplining their wives must remain. Like, that is clearly an attitude coming from the teachings of the Quran. I also said there are quotes from the National Council of Women from Egypt that indicate that 80 million Egyptian women are subject to violence and a further 86% of wives are subject to beatings, a report by the Egypt Independent quoted her as saying 86%. So clearly this kind of legislation is needed.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a good thing for like the one. So for people who don't know this, Al Azhar University is like, I don't know if there's any, when it comes to Sunni Islam, I don't know if there's any higher authority. I know like some people don't agree with it. Like, I'm not saying every Sunni Muslim just, but it is, I can't think of any higher authority in the Sunni world when it comes to religious rulings, right? And commentary. Like not even like the imam, like, or the preachers in like Medina or Mecca are not even that high, you know what I mean? Especially given that the Saudi influence on whatever happens over there, right? So this is like the most, and but so I think there is some value in getting this on record that Al Azhar University is pro wife beating, right? Because we want to make sure people understand what Islam teaches. Like, is it a surprise to people that the, like people who want to misrepresent the Quran as this book that doesn't have these evil things in it? Like, yeah, sure, you're right. And Al Azhar University, the institution that is responsible for understanding and teaching and declaring fatwas and declaring commentary on all things Islamic, the main source of authority, they are wrong and you're right. Okay, you, this reformist Muslim who is now being influenced by a modern way of thinking and modern understanding of morality, and being influenced by all these progressive forces into not wanting wife beating to be a thing. You have understood the translation of the Quran more than these people who have spent for the past 1300 years microanalyzing every single goddamn dot in the Quran, right? So sure. So it's good that they come. Like, I'm glad that these rules are being added, and I'm glad that Al Azhar University is coming and exposing, like, is reminding the entire world what Islam stands for, right? I also do want to acknowledge, I do want to mention, like, some of the justifications you see Muslims have for wife beating. They really, like, the excuse they have for this is that this actually does preserve the family, right? They think like whatever harm that you could experience from wife beating is insignificant compared to the harm of families breaking apart, right?
Oh
And they
my
think
God.
like, yeah, they're saying like, look at these other modern Western families where they're going through divorce, and like, I've like think about the kids and all the harm that is coming from all this divorce and families. Like, what's a little bit of wife beating if it prevents all of that, It prevents all of that. So that's what that's what they
people
say.
who
That's
have
their
that
excuse.
attitude, like that's freaking insane. Like people who have
Mhm.
grown up with violence in their home, the terror that they experience from being surrounded by violence of their home, probably the vast majority of them would be like, I would much rather prefer that my home would have been broken than experience the visceral terror that literally changes the way your brain physically operates for the rest of your life, literally can stunt your development. Like I think they would trade having a broken home over going through that trauma and dealing with the implications of that and the effects it's going to have on their ability to form relationships for the rest of their life over, like the supposed consequences. That's insane.
Yeah, let's look at these highlighted comments. Okay, this was insane. I have to
This is
highlight this because
insane.
read this.
Kiki is saying, while I support measures to protect women in Egypt, don't you think there's a possibility it could turn into a tool for misandry? Tool for man hatred?
Okay,
Do you
misandry is
really
man
think
hate.
that's gonna be much of a freaking problem in Egypt where they can't even agree to put this on, like, to begin with?
I
Like, these
think
things are
Kiki. I
so
think
stacked.
you're.
Do you understand the violence that women in Egypt go through? The environment is not suited to allow for those kinds of attitudes. Oh
Wait,
my god! I need my friends that grew up there to like come in here
wait.
because it's like crazy.
So Kiki, you think like having laws that prevents men from beating their wives, you're more worried about people like, oh, if this is gonna make people hate men? Like, I mean, wouldn't your comments make more people hate men? Like, I think you're promoting men hatred more than I think the idea that you're like, okay, women being beaten is a bad thing, but what about men being hated? So I think your comment is promoting is a tool for misandry, because people who think like that is going to make more people think like, well, fuck men's feelings. Like, what are you talking? Like that is you're promoting Kiki. You're promoting misandry. Isn't this like a tool for misandry? Like this kind of attitude when somebody
Oh, it
thinks
makes
about.
people turn their heads and say, what the fuck is going on over there, for sure? Like, Kiki, then you're saying, I'm aware of that, Susanna. I was worried that it could turn against men. Look at India. Okay, I'm not sure what you're referring to with this, Kiki, but if you are referring to the current fight to criminalize marital rape in India right now, because your comment sounds exactly like the attitudes of the people who oppose the criminalization of marital rape, saying you're criminalizing marriage, you're promoting misandry against men. It's like, this is assault. This is about criminalizing assault. Like I said in the beginning, this proposed law has to constitutionally apply to both sexes, right? This isn't like...
Look, Hindutu
like,
Susanna is saying the same
oh
thing.
my god!
Okay, read this one.
I can't even articulate myself fully because
What is happening? Read this one. This
Dupa
is
Susanna
crazy.
is saying, hope women don't exploit such laws against innocent men like the dowry law of the Penal Code, IPC 498A.
Okay, guys,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure, like, if you like, hey, we should make murder illegal, okay? And if your first thought is like, I hope people don't misuse this law against people who haven't committed murder, I mean, your priorities are not in the right place, okay? Obviously, any law that we have that is supposed to protect people, any misuse of it should be avoided. But you obviously are going to need the goddamn law to protect people, okay? So I don't know what this. Okay, Susanna, you have lost it.
My god.
What happened?
I'm losing my mind right now. Saying marital rape is a hazy problem. I don't think criminalizing it will help India. Sorry to say, the Indian government did the right thing there.
Wow.
So you don't want India to join the fucking 21st century and criminalize this? Oh my god.
Okay, Kiki, you just
just
came out
keeps
as
getting
pro rape.
worse. It just
You
keeps
just
getting
came out as pro rape. Kiki, congratulations. You just came out as pro rape. Jesus Christ. So, guys, actually, marital rape should be high, like one of the highest priorities of rapes that people, because that's your victim is trapped in your house. Okay, so I don't understand how people think like marital rape is less serious than other kinds of rape. It's more, it repeats, it happens more often than other kinds of rape, and the society doesn't condemn it as much. As like, imagine having your victim forced to be living with you, and you are repeating it all over and over and over and over again. That is actually a worse kind of rape compared to other like instances where it might happen once and you're not trapped inside a prison with your rapist. And it's not the similar to the other ones where like society was like, oh, you should just accept giving in to your rapist. They don't do that with other kinds of rape. It should be criminalized. This is like the worst instances of rape is usually marital rape. Why are you guys are defending rape? What the fuck is happening? Unbelievable. This is disgusting.
Oh my god. Okay, so Bulbul is saying, you think men are the victims in India? India has one of the worst rates of violence against women. Like, it's a step forward. Like, I'm not saying, oh my god. In situations like this, in any law, there will be issues of misuse with any law. That doesn't mean that the protections that it will afford people are worth throwing out the window because it has the potential to be misused. What about the potential to save lives?
Yeah, actually, guys, legalize fraud, because some people might be innocent and be a victim of this fraud, anti-fraud laws. It legalize everything. Legalize murder, apparently, because some people might be innocent and get charged with murder. So why have that law? Just legalize it, right? What the anyways.
Saying criminalizing it won't help. How are people supposed to get justice against the people who harm them if there is nothing standing in the law books that allows them to address their grievances?
Criminalizing rape won't help. Criminalizing rape will not. Are you listening to yourself, Kiki? Criminalizing rape won't help. What are you talking about? By the way, Mustafa is like telling everybody to please, thank you, Mustafa. Like we said, we use the word rape like 1 million times now in this stream. So YouTube is going to bury this video. Like this video is not going to go anywhere. So please make sure you like this video to like fight the algorithm a little bit. Thank you, Mustafa, for reminding it. And yeah, also Katie is saying, because criminalizing marital rape will end the institution of marriage. You know what? Fuck the institution of marriage. If it's pro-rape, if it means like you get to kidnap somebody.
The bar is so low tonight. Holy shit!
No, but Katie is making fun of it. This is in quotation.
I know, but just like it's just a reflection. Oh my god.
Yes, yeah. Like, you know what? Fuck marriage if it means that you get to kidnap somebody and like have the entire society endorse you raping them constantly. You know what? We're better off not having marriage at all if that's what marriage is supposed to mean. Jesus Christ. Like, you know, and people are saying like we should be worried about innocent men. Yeah, you could be worried about innocent men that are getting charged, but if you are throwing away 100 times victims of rape under the bus for a small percentage of innocent men, like you could deal with protecting those innocent men after you have the law, but you can't just ignore women being raped because potentially some men are going to be innocently charged. We'll deal with that when that happens, but the law obviously has to be there. Are you guys have lost your minds? Oh my god. All right, never mind.
Kiki seems to think that if they had sex before, like it suddenly is like not a thing. Kiki, if like most of the countries in the world have figured out a way to establish this and set it into law for decades, I can't figure out why India can't do it too when other countries have clearly delineated this and been able to enforce it.
Like you're saying, we know a rape for sure. We know it's a rape for sure, but marital rape is harder to nail. Well, it becomes easier when you start. Like the first step is to getting it done is to criminalize it. I'm sure you could. I'm sure you could manage that. Okay, Jesus, I'm gonna stop. Let's stop. Let's stop. Like, oh, it's hard. Okay, so let's not even get started because it's hard. So you're actually making justifications for why it needs to be criminalized. So you create the process of actually fighting it because it wouldn't get easier if it's not even a fucking crime. Okay.
So, no, this is an important question. Rajesh is saying there's already a law against domestic violence, right? Why not use that law in the case of marital rape? And Bulbul, a literal lawyer, is saying because rape is an exception to marriage is an exception to the rape law itself.
Yeah, so like
that's what we're trying to address. Is a loophole.
Rujesh is saying there already law against domestic violence, right? Why not use that law? Because they don't consider it domestic violence, because they think because that law against domestic violence doesn't work, because apparently if you rape your wife, that is not legally considered by them to be domestic violence. That's why you need to change it, that no, this is actual rape. So it is domestic violence. So now the law applies.
Oh, another good fact from Bulbul, our legal source, saying currently men can rape their wives if the wife is above 15 years old in India. That's the exception being challenged. 15.
Wow.
It just keeps getting worse. I swear to God. Yeah, oh my God. Well, this took a big turn today. Holy cow. I need to pull myself together.
All right. We should move on to the next news. Can we clap for
yes? This is hilarious. This is lighthearted. This is like not a big deal.
All right. Next news.
Next news. Televised, quote unquote, profane baptism triggers Vatican bishops. On February 23rd, Achille Lauro, an Italian rapper and singer, along with New York's Harlem Gospel Choir, performed his song Domenica at Italy's San Reno music festival. Wearing only black leather pants and dark eyeshadow, the hip-thrusting Achille finished the performance by kneeling on stage, hands clasped in front of him as if in prayer, and poured water from a bowl over his forehead, portraying a faux baptism that Italian bishops described as, quote, profane. The Vatican and Italian Catholic bishop, Antonio Sueta, protested against the performance, stating that it contained, quote, words, attitudes, and gestures that are not just offensive to religion, but to human dignity.
Okay.
The bishop stated that initially he did not want to speak up against the performance to stop it from getting any more attention. However, he could not help but protest because Italy's public broadcasting service, the RAI state television, broadcasted the performance. Meanwhile, the singer Lauro contends that the performance was intended to be a birthday gift to his mother. So this is just a hilarious moment of Catholic bishops getting triggered over the most mild things. Armin walked away right when I wanted to show a clip of the performance, so I'm gonna pull it up on my computer. Give me a second. And what's so funny is that it's not even crazy. You know, like when Sinead O'Connor did her, infamous protest where, oh, you're back, where she, ripped the picture of the Pope in half. Like, that is way more provocative than this is. This is like so mild. This is so normal, but this is an offense against human dignity.
Can we show this? Because last time we showed the music video, even without playing the audio, we got like a copyright strike.
Let's not show the whole performance. Go to the 3-minute, 30-second mark, and then we can see the baptism. Because the rest of it is just him, like, shirtless.
I can't believe YouTube actually now can detect even, like, videos on screen and then automatically strike it for copyright, even when we're not playing the audio. Like, what kind of AI?
Over it.
Yeah, we were talking over it. We were showing the video, and the audio was muted, and AI, like, just like what kind of advanced anyways, let's see. Okay, so
I'm
is
just here
this
for the
part?
hip thrusting.
Okay,
There's
that's
a
the
little.
hip thrusting.
There we go with the hip thrusting. There we have the
These
gospel
are
singers.
angels.
Yeah, and he's like,
This
yeah,
is for
get
his
it.
mom.
Lick those lips.
He made this for
Press
his
those
mom.
hips. I know. So that's what was so funny. Wait, so go to the 3-minute 30-second mark.
All right, 3 minutes. 30
So yeah, then he's like, this was dedicated to my mom as a birthday present. I'm like, really? You're like grabbing your crotch through the performance, bro. Like, I don't know. Like,
okay.
like,
Okay.
but yeah, I was like, that was an offense to human dignity. Like, what got you so upset, bro? Was it the shirtlessness? Was it the eyeshadow? Was it the face
I think it
tattoos? Was it the hip thrusting? Was it the black
Hip
leather
thrusting.
pants?
The hip thrusting. I think it was
Yeah.
the hip thrust. Yeah.
So funny. I think they got so triggered because this is like was on state television. So it's like in America if it was on PBS or something. I don't know. I feel Dean is saying if only church was that hot, right? Right? It's so mild. I've seen way more crazy stuff. And the funny thing is one of the editor of a Vatican newspaper was basically saying like, this is just you're just taking cheap shots at the Catholic Church because it's so easy to try to seem transgressive just by like taking cheap shots at the Catholic Church. But like, who's the real transgressors of all time? Jesus Christ. Like
Wait,
that
so
was
isn't
basically
it
his
Sunday?
message.
So isn't it
Like,
just
there's
Sunday?
nothing more transgressive, really, than the message of Jesus Christ. So who's
Well,
the
then
fool
aren't they
now?
following the way of Jesus then? So shouldn't we be transgressing? Isn't that what Jesus would do? Wouldn't Jesus be like thrusting his hip as the major transgressor? Like, is it like this
Hell
is the
yeah.
modern way of transgressing?
Hell yeah.
We're just anyways. Can we clap for the next news?
Let me get back. Yes, we can.
We can. Okay. Next news.
Next news. New French law bans LGBT conversion therapy in France. On July 25th, with an overwhelming 142 votes to 0, the French National Assembly officially passed a new law that bans LGBT so-called conversion therapy. The new law also imposes criminal penalties on those who practice the pseudoscientific therapy. These penalties include a possible sentence of several years in jail and fines of up to 45,000 euros or $34,000 USD for cases involving children and vulnerable adults. According to MP Lawrence Vancenbroek-Milon, I don't know how to say these French names. The law sends out a strong signal because the law condemns those who, quote, condemns those who consider a change of sex or identity as an illness. Is Elizabeth Moreno, France's Equalities and Diversity Minister, condemned conversion therapy by calling such practices barbaric. French President Emmanuel Macron expressed his support on Twitter, saying, "Let's be proud of it, because being oneself is not a crime." Similar laws have been passed in countries such as Canada, Germany, Brazil, Ecuador, Malta, and Albania.
You know what I'm going to say?
I do know what you're going to say.
I mean, this is France, for fuck's sake. Are you serious? Only now? This is France. How did this last? How did this take so long? So you're telling me that conversion therapy was legal in France until just recently? How did this take them so long?
I think there were some other kinds of provisions against it, but this is like the most firm legislation against it ever.
Okay, well, thank you for joining the 21st century, France. France, what the fuck?
You know what I was thinking when I was preparing for this news story? Because I knew you were going to say this, because you always say this. I think I understand where you're coming from, because you're like, we want this to have already happened already. But I think when you say that, you're doing a disservice to how much progress we've undergone in such a short period of time. Like,
well,
it was only the 1970s that it was considered a mental pathology to be homosexual, right? That's an incredible amount of progression in only a handful of decades.
Yeah, but we're also talking about France, which is supposed to be one of the most, if not the most secular countries on the goddamn planet. Okay, they are so secular that they even have a different name for it. They're like, we're not even secular. We go extra. We have laïcité, right? Like we don't, right? So, so I mean, if a country this secular, I mean, what was the justification for conversion therapy if they're like religion is supposed to have no influence? Like it's,
Well, there
I don't
probably
know.
wasn't a justification so much as there just had to be the political push to actually go the length of formally banning it.
Okay,
There
well
had to be the
here's,
political
well I
will
guess,
or the
yay France,
incentive in their
thank you for.
constituents.
Okay, great. Thank you, France, for banning conversion therapy. Hey, wait. So you're telling me that Canada was ahead of France over this? Because Canada, we banned
Yes.
this, and you and Susanna, you should be ashamed. I'm sorry. Wait. So you're behind us, right? So
Yes.
Canada is ahead of France apparently. So good job, Canada. And United States is still behind both France and Canada. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Canada. Canada.
Yeah.
What surprised me though, in terms of countries that have already banned it, Albania was really surprising to me because Albania is a Muslim majority country, right?
Right.
I was like, huh.
Yes. Well, Albania is like a Muslim country that it doesn't act, feel, or do anything like a Muslim
I
country.
think it's the
Like, oh,
only secular Muslim majority country.
and also when you look at pictures of Albania, like you're like, wait, this is a Muslim country. Like, how is this
Well,
Muslim?
that's just, I think you just think
I
that
believe.
because they're like European, they're Caucasian.
No, I mean the buildings, and yeah, I mean I'm being stereotypical, which is good not to use Albania as a way not to. You're like, you just like look at it, it's like these buildings doesn't, it just doesn't look like, I don't know. The weather is not Islamic.
The weather isn't Islamic.
Like nothing about
Everything isn't
nothing
in the
about
sepia tone.
yeah, exactly. Nothing here looks Islamic to me, and apparently this is still an Islamic country. It's like, okay. But okay,
There's
read this
no,
comment.
I don't see yellow sands here. Where are the camels? Like, what are you saying, Armin?
Hey, I don't say that. I come from Iran. There's no, like, I grew up in Tehran. There's no sands or camel in Tehran, and I still get Islamic vibes. I see Ya Hussein somewhere on the street, or like I see a mosque or something once every. I mean, I'm sure there are mosques, and I just anyways.
Oh my god.
All right, but read this comment. This is a good comment. I like it.
Secularity is saying, I think you both bring a different viewpoint on these types of things, on these news, and that's why I really value and love this show. Oh my god, that's so sweet.
Yes.
No, okay, but I wanted to bring it up because in many other ways, Armin is really stresses the importance of appreciating progression and not dismissing that when fighting for new social justice matters. But on this, I feel like you're just very quick to be like, well, come on, guys, where are you?
No, I mean I appreciate the progress, but I also think like I'm promoting putting a fire up as the, like I'm also like shaming any progressive country that is not there. I don't think I'm like, because here's the thing, I don't think I'm being harmful when I say that, because the law is already passed. You know what I mean? Like it's not like they're gonna be like, well, if you don't, well, if Armin doesn't appreciate this, maybe we should like go back. I don't think that's about to happen when I talk like that, right? But I think like shaming countries for not doing this
Retroactively
fast.
shaming them.
No, yeah, you're retroactively shaming them, and it also shows how any other country that is like not even there yet should be ashamed. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's helpful to. I think like being happy that something happens while at the same time telling people that this is not happening fast enough. I think that's a good combination. I don't see any issue with that. I think you should do both. Okay. I think I get upset when somebody does one of them but not the other. But I think here we do both of them, right? Like I think like if people saying like, oh, United States has all these ugly things in its past, right? And they don't highlight the good parts. I have an issue with that. But I also have an issue with people who only highlight the good things and don't highlight the dark past, right? So I think like my issue is only when people just only do one. I think we should do both. You highlighted something?
Oh,
Yeah,
it was just Katie saying that Albania is much too brightness. We need to put a sepia filter on it.
Yes, make it. Yeah, I think a sepia filter is like more Islamic. Yes, exactly.
You crazy.
or,
You so
yeah.
crazy.
Well, I mean, okay, here. Let me just actually make my point here, Albania. Okay, just go. Okay. Okay, there's some. Okay, here. Let me show you. All right.
Oh boy. He's
No.
committing.
Yeah. Okay. So if you look enough, you'll see. Okay. So here's like when you look at why are these so low res? Yeah, like this screams like Eastern Europe to me, which is technically it is.
Yes.
But I guess here you could see like something Islamic, right?
Oh wow.
I want to go to Albania now.
Yeah, damn, this is pretty.
Okay, there's one thing Islamic here, but most of it is like, I mean, having a mosque next to this, to me, it doesn't seem like this was originally Islamic country, right? It comes across as a country that was supposed to be like non-Islamic, and they had a migration of Muslims, and they're like, fine, we'll build a mosque for you. All right. You know what I mean? It doesn't come across as a country that was like OG Muslim. I mean, technically, it wasn't. It was like, it was. I guess actually that makes sense because it had a history of not being Islamic at some point in time. Hey, I feel vindicated. That is actually what happened. Okay, so never
I
mind.
feel like you are exhibiting your internalized stereotypes.
I am. I'm an acknowledging that is my internalized stereotypes, right? So I am acknowledging it. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm being transparent about my stereotypical view of things. All right.
Which means Islam equals sepia tone.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. All right. All right. Can we wait. I
I
grew up
grew up
in
in
when
Minnesota, so I don't know what Islamic weather is, says an ex-Muslim.
All right, can we clap for the next news?
Yes.
Next news.
Next news, wrongfully imprisoned atheist Mubarak Bala finally appears in court. On February 1st, nearly 2 years after his arrest in April 2020, Mubarak Bala appeared for the first time at the High Court of the state of Kano, Nigeria. Mubarak, the president of the Humanist Association of Nigeria, was arrested for comparing the Prophet Muhammad to a violent radical in a Facebook post. Mubarak was illegally denied access to a lawyer for more than 5 months after his arrest. 15 months into his prison time, Bala was finally charged with causing a public disturbance under sections 210 and 114 of the Penal Code of the state of Kano. Bala was not present at the court when his charges were first read. Bala's arrest and lack of due process has been condemned by numerous international organizations, including the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights. Humanists International insisted that, quote, all charges laid against Bala should be dropped immediately and unconditionally. Wole Soyinka, a Nobel Prize laureate from Nigeria, called Bala's arrest a sign of, quote, a plague of religious extremism that has encroached upon Nigeria.
There's somebody in the live chat saying, "Isn't Nigeria a Christian country?" No, a half. It's half Christian, half Islamic, right? And unfortunately for Mubarak Bala, he was on the Islamic side, and he has a Muslim
Well,
background.
actually, he was originally in the state of Kaduna, which is a southern state that's Christian majority. And then
yeah, but he has a Muslim background.
Yeah, but he has a Muslim background and he was extradited to Kano State, which in Kano State is one of the states where they have customary law where you are given different forms of law depending on your religious background. And he is a former Muslim, so they uphold Sharia law in this state. So
Yeah.
the penalty for blasphemy of a Muslim is death. And so there is and also, well, no, for Muslims, it would be death in Nigeria as well.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's also the issue of the fact that he has openly apostatized from Islam, which is likely, played into a lot of the illegal treatment that he has received at the hands of the state, including just blatantly disobeying court orders, that he has to be presented before court, all of these things. And there is the possibility of, technically, could be argued that the customary law and Sharia law doesn't apply to him because he is not a Muslim any longer. He's a humanist. So based on the way that Humanist International wrote their article, it sounds like that's kind of the push that his lawyers might be trying to make for this. But this is a significant milestone in the effort to free Mubarak Bala, because like I said, he finally appeared in court after almost 2 years of being imprisoned. For over a year, he was illegally detained without charge.
Yeah.
And then
2 years, guys. 2 years, like you can't even defend yourself because they're just keeping you without charging you. What a clown show! What a fucking clown show! And Nigeria is supposed to be like one of the most serious countries in Africa as well. It's supposed to be leading the way in the economy and progress and everything. How are you going to do this if this is how your legal system works, right? I mean, it doesn't work. Imagine the defense. Imagine the lawyers having to defend him, not by saying like, dude, blasphemy is not a crime, or like, what is this fucking law? Like, the defense has to be like, he shouldn't be like executed because he's not a Muslim anymore. Basically having to endorse the already existing law, like, oh yeah, this is all justified if he was a Muslim, but the law shouldn't apply to him just because he doesn't believe. Like, unbelievable.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I don't think that's something that they actually believe.
I know
that might be how they have to argue it.
I know. I wasn't criticizing the lawyers. I'm just saying criticizing the situation that they're in. That this is the defense that they are forced to go with to save the man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's crazy because so there's the punishment under customary law, which has the potential to be death, and then there's the punishment under the other form of law, which I can't remember what it's called, but the punishment for that is a 2-year jail sentence. He has almost served a full sentence for this supposed quote unquote crime that he committed. Right? So it's just absolutely ridiculous. Everything about the entire way that this has been handled is a clear violation of his rights, his constitutional rights. And I'm glad that this, it took a little while, but the case of Mubarak Bala started to get a lot of attention over the past few years, including a huge profile in the New York Times. There's profiles by the Associated Press that, take him as a case study and then expound upon the issues that African atheists face at large. So that is getting more attention, which is so, so needed. That is a good thing. And I am really, we can just really hope that this first step can lead to quicker progress. And finally, I would like to plug, one moment, Humanist International has a fund that they've started to his defense fund, and I would like to promote it to people here. 1 second. So if you go to justgiving.com, you can find the campaign just called Free Mubarak Bala, or I put the link in the live chat. You guys, Humanist International is basically, in my opinion, one of the most credible humanist secular organizations in the world. They do amazing work, especially with their Humanist at Risk program. And they have been one of the most hands-on in terms of defending Mubarak Bala. And I go to Humanist International first to find out what the updates on him are. So I would encourage you, if you are able, if you feel willing, and that wouldn't be a financial burden to you, to consider donating to Mubarak Bala's legal fund. They have a £10,000 target, and they've reached 59% of their goal so far. So they still have, little less than halfway to go before they've reached their goal of this defense fund for Mubarak Bala. So consider that if you're so inclined. And also, this is something that I really care about the case of Mubarak Bala, and so I always try to bring you guys the updates on his case as soon as possible.
Oh, look at this. Secular Sakai is saying, I'm a donate now. I'm a donate now. Wow, thank you guys. This is atheist taking care of each other. That's fantastic.
Yes. So,
Good.
I
I mean,
this
think about it. If this was a
Yeah, go
Christian,
for it.
if he was a Christian, and the fund was like, I don't know, £100,000, given the number of churches and the resources the Christians have, it would be like this. Like the funds would be available like this. Okay, if this was like a Christian in trouble in an Islamic part of Nigeria, I'm sure the funds will be available for help. For his legal fund would be filled within like less than a day, right? So, atheists need to like. I'm glad that we have institutions like this that are going after this, but the community support needs to pick up, right? So that's a good thing. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
And AJ is checking as well. Thank you guys. That's very nice of you.
Yeah, I mean, think
All
about
right.
with the case of Sohail Arabi, like how much that international support really made a difference in changing the environment of his case. Like, the pressure was able to help commute his death sentence to just several years imprisonment. And now he's currently, at the moment, released just in internal exile. So it's really important that atheists do care about each other internationally. Because oftentimes we can be very small in numbers. We're minorities within our own countries. This international solidarity really can make a difference.
Yeah, I mean, thank you, Susanna, for bringing these to our attention and doing the background, research and everything. Thank you for that. Somebody's saying I'm new to this channel. Well, welcome here. We hope you
Hi.
stay.
Blank name is saying Atheist Republic community.
We're so proud of our community. Okay. All right. Can we clap for the next news?
Another heart.
Oh, just go like this. It's easier.
Oh yeah, this is like the Korean thing, right?
Yeah, this is a heart. Yeah. All right. K-pop stuff. All right. Can we clap for the?
Yes, we can.
People are saying.
We can.
Oh wait. People are saying thank you, Susie. And last I'm saying Susie Joan. All right. Next news.
Atheist Republic sells first NFT sexy Kali collection. Armin, take it away.
All right. So I know a lot of people hate NFTs. I want to make sure that I tell people that we did our research to do this. And we're still open to criticism, right? And I want to make sure that we do this right. Okay. And the goal for this is to get Kali back. All right. We're bringing sexy Kali back, especially on Twitter. Okay. So we're using the power of the blockchain to bring Hindu goddess Kali Ma back on Twitter and everywhere else and spread her everywhere. Okay. Just make sure that like that because let me tell you that the Hindutva IT cell has been very successful on Twitter in fighting against the spread of our blasphemous art, right? So we have managed to spread our blasphemous art everywhere, right? But like for some reason, these people are very good at just blocking us on Twitter, right? So we are now using the power of NFT and blockchain to encourage people to make Kali must spread in a way that it's unremovable. Okay, so for people who think like NFTs are scams, like I did a lot of research into making sure that we do this in not a scammy way and also an environmentally friendly way. Okay, let me tell you. So the link to this is in the description, and I priced these NFTs at the lowest price that it allows, right? So these are not like those NFTs that people are saying that are going for thousands and thousands of dollars. Like I priced these at like $3, $4, right? And I also minted them on the Polygon blockchain, so the gas fees are extremely low, right? So it's not like those hundreds of dollars of gas fees that people are paying. So I minted 10 Kali Ma NFTs for sale, and 2 of them are already 2 of them are already taken. You can see there's 3 owners. So we just want to make sure that all 10 of them go. And again, this is, guys, these are like really, really cheap, right? So if you
Yeah,
go,
most
if
are
you
only like $5 USD.
$3, $2, $5, right, like that, right? So we started with the lowest price, and then we had to do a staggering price, like, so it just increased it by very, very low every time, right? But the goal is, like, if you read this, okay, I'm going to read this. I said, use the hashtag #SexyCali to share or sell your Cali NFT. We'll retweet it on Atheist Republic Twitter account, which has more than 130,000 followers, right? So we don't want you to just buy them. We want you to buy them and then try to resell it at a profit. Okay. So I'm not, by the way, this is not financial advice, and I'm not telling you that you're going to make a profit at this, but I'm hoping that we could make it work so that you buy it and then you sell it at a higher price. Okay. So, and we're going to try to, and you could like use the Sexy Cali hashtag to mention that you have this NFT multiple times, and we will try to help you sell it multiple times or once you buy it, right? So we're selling it to you. Like, for example, look at this one. This one is being sold. The goal is not to for us to like make like a shit ton of money out of this. The goal is to just spread Sexy Cali, right? So we're selling this one at like $3. Okay, $3, like 1,000th of an ETH. Okay, so this is all right. So let's go back. Actually, wait, hold on. How do you go back? Let me come off at full screen here. So it continues, and the description says in 2020. Many were, so we give us the history of Sexy Cali and what this is about for people. Like, I know a lot of you already know, but we put this here so to show people why are we doing this and the significance of this, right? It says in 2020, Susanna wrote this, by the way. Many were angered by Atheist Republic's art of a sexy version of the Hindu deity Kali. The Universal Hindu Council filed a report against us with the Delhi police and Mumbai police for allowing blasphemous content to be featured on Twitter. An Indian attorney filed a public interest litigation before the Supreme Court of India to hold on, let me stop this. To hold social media, where is this? To hold social media companies directly responsible for the content on their platforms, naming us as a reason that the government should establish officers that investigate hate speech. Our Kalima project sends numerous powerful messages wrapped in a sexy package. When we blaspheme, we actively participate in breaking taboos and normalizing dissent. We are taking up the mantle of changing draconian blasphemy laws, right?
Challenging.
So, guys,
draconian blasphemy.
challenge. What did I say?
Changing.
Challenging. Okay. Yeah, same thing. All right. So, guys, the goal is to not for people to just get these NFTs. The goal is to get the NFTs and go on Twitter and say, like, use the sexy. I saw somebody. Okay, I'm going to show you what somebody did. Okay. Use the Sexy Cali NFT hashtag to tweet their NFTs, right? And link to it, and also try to sell it again at a higher price and make a profit out of it. Okay. Again, I'm not saying any of this works. It might work, it might not work. Okay. But just it's only 10 of them. There's only 10 of them, and 2 of them have already sold. Like if we click on the activity, you can see that these 2 are already sold. But one of them is they already like look, which one? So if I bring this person, for example, you can see Nilofar bought one of them. So there's 8 of them left. And she tweeted about it. She said, check out my NFT, and she linked to it, right? And then she used the hashtag Sexy Cali, right? So you can see that she bought it. I don't know how much, and now she's reselling it at $45. So she's trying to sell it now.
And this one is the only blue Kali. Like when I was checking out our listings, I was like, "Oh my god, the blue one is already gone! Damn, I wanted it."
Well, the blue one is already gone, which is the original color, but she is now reselling it at a much higher price. So you could still get it at the higher price that she bought it from. But guys, we are already 2 out of 10 is already gone. One of them okay, this one, where's number 1? Cali number 1. This person bought it and hasn't put it up for sale. So this one, you can't buy it anymore because the person that is not. If you go to the link, I already made the link that shows you buy now. The only buy, so it only 9 of them are available for sale, right? So guys, if you buy them, make sure you put it, like, don't just hold on to it, put it up for resale for at a higher price, and we'll help you market it. Okay, again, no guarantees. So the reason why I'm saying this is not a scam is because I'm telling you that there's no guarantees. Okay, so that you're gonna be able to. And another reason why I know we're doing this ethically is that we minted all of this on the Polygon blockchain, not on the Ethereum blockchain, on the Polygon blockchain. So you can see all of them says Polygon. There's 2 significant things about this blockchain. Okay, so all of these say Polygon. Okay, so the main thing is that it's environmentally friendly. So this is not like, this is proof of stake, not proof of work. That means that all you need to know is, like, there's not a shit ton of energy being used to mint these NFTs. Okay, so if you were like, oh, I don't like NFTs because of the environmental damage, well, these are minted on Polygon, so this is environmentally friendly. The second significant thing about this being on the Polygon blockchain is, do you know what it is, Susanna?
I actually don't.
You won't guess. You don't. You won't be able to guess it. That Polygon is an Indian blockchain. This is a blockchain that was made by, yes, Polygon blockchain. Unlike the Bitcoin blockchain, unlike the Ethereum blockchain, the Polygon blockchain is made by Indian developers. It was founded in India. So it's so poetically fitting that Kalima NFTs are minted on an Indian blockchain. Isn't that
full circle?
Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful?
I love it.
I thought that was beautiful. That was so poetic.
I love how excited you are. It's adorable.
Yeah, by the way, okay, so I tell you, I want to, we don't have much excuses to talk about a lot of good news from India, because we usually talk about religion. This is one thing. Now we have an excuse. India is like a major hub of entrepreneurship and new tech. Okay, and Polygon is the #1 layer 2 blockchain, layer 2 solution on the Ethereum blockchain, right? So you could show, and I'm also happy. Another news is that India decided to go against, unlike China, India decided to regulate the blockchain instead of banning the blockchain, which means that India is going to lead the way, unlike China, when it comes to these kind of technology. So you can see that India, these are some good news, and India is such a major hub for new technology and entrepreneurship. So, and they're going to lead, and I was going to say they're going to lead the way. They're already leading the way in this. Okay, the Polygon blockchain is a serious new innovation, and I think people should be celebrating that this is something that is coming out of India. Okay, so there's that.
Do you know where the servers for the Polygon blockchain are? Because people are concerned that their servers will fall under Indian jurisdiction.
It's a blockchain. The servers are spread across the planet.
Well, yes.
So it's not centralized, right?
Well, in general, are they subject to Indian jurisdiction? I mean, it's decentralized, so kind of like
this is already this is why I'm saying, this is why we're using the power of the blockchain to spread the message, Kalima, sexy Kali, but and spread the message of like fighting for free speech and spreading, normalizing blasphemy. This is why we're using the power of the blockchain, because it's unremovable, right? It's immutable. It's basically on the blockchain. It's not centralized, and no power on the goddamn planet could remove this. That's the whole point of making Kalima NFTs, is because we'll remove, hey, Hindutva IT cells or whatever, remove this if you can, right? You can't, right? So this is why we're using yeah. So that's the whole point, right? And I had a few notes about this. Oh, by the way, the butthurt was already there. There was people tweeting about this. I should have saved the butthurt over this guys. This is us getting back for all the attacks that we got, because the first tweet that Nilufar had, I wish I saved the first tweet. Hold on. Here, I could find it. You can see.
I did see people this going after her in the
first tweet. Yeah.
Yeah, in the comments.
Okay. So this is the first tweet. I reached out to her, told her to use the correct hashtag because her first hashtag. Oh, here it is. Okay, so this the first time she didn't use the correct hashtag, but somebody was like, "Oh wait, oh wow." Okay, so somebody said your mother. You're already seeing the butt hurt, right? But there's
Oh
two
my
other replies that have
God.
been that have been removed because they violated Twitter rules. You can see that she's already she's already getting
So
them
predictable.
so backlash. Okay, so guys, this needs to like there's power in numbers. Like we want people to get the NFTs, but also not hold on to it because if people keep passing it on from one person to another, you really can't target each individual, right? So that's the whole point. And make sure you use the hashtag so that we retweet you. Again, you might make a
Hashtag
profit out
sexy
of it.
Cali, correct? Or what
Hashtag
hashtag?
sexy Cali. Yes, it's in. You can see every NFT that you click on will have the message here that of what hashtag to use and how we're going to retweet you. Okay, they're very cheap, environmentally friendly. I already said that. Every time you buy one of these, it gets on the blockchain. No force can remove it. I already mentioned that. The idea. Okay, so this is what I mentioned. The idea is to bring Sexy Cali back on Twitter, where her Dutva has the upper hand, but this time it's on the blockchain, so they can't remove it. Okay, I also wanted to make sure that we are not promising that that you're going to make any money out of this. So we can't be scamming you. Okay, this is not a scam because we're not promising you that you're going to make money. You might make money, you might make a profit, but you might not. Okay, if the project picks up, you might be able to resell it at a higher price. But the main goal is to bring Sexy Cali back. Okay, so if you make a profit, that's just a bonus. So make sure you tweet about it. Okay, don't use the wrong hashtag. And make sure if you sell it, you sell it at a higher price. Make sure you sell it at a higher price that doesn't just cover the price that you bought it from, but also the gas fee that you paid for, right? So the gas fee is going to be, I don't know, I think maybe like it's like if it was on the Ethereum blockchain, I think the gas fee would have been like $100, $200, but I think the gas fee on the Polygon blockchain is like $30 or something like that, right? So make sure that if you resell it, you make a profit on top of everything that you pay, right? But also there's also a 10%, just to be fully transparent with everybody. Where is it? I don't know where you get the information, but there's also a 10% creator fee, which if this picks up, we're going to use that to maybe do another NFT collection at some point with the Sita and Kalima couple together when they were kissing.
Ooh,
So
that
maybe
would be so good.
yeah. But we will do that more seriously because this was our first attempt. Well, I mean, not more seriously, like yeah, no, let's just focus on this one right now. Okay, this is only 10. If this is successful, maybe we'll do another set at some point. Okay, maybe not. But let's just focus on Kalima right now. Again, link is in the description. I think it's the top link right now. So check it out. All right. Anything in the comment about this? Because I want to see what people think about this. Because I want to make sure we do this. Like,
Oh, people are
not in a
very
shady
excited.
way. Oh, really?
They're very excited. People are like,
Oh,
I've been avoiding the NFT blockchain space, but like now, this
oh,
has me
really?
interested.
Guys,
Oh
I made
yeah.
sure this is yeah, guys, check it out. I made it really, really cheap. Okay, like this is not the prices that you're usually familiar with on the NFT world, right? This is, but yeah, and also if you do tweet about it, you could like use you could use this description here as inspiration as what to put in the caption to maybe tell people what the whole point is as well. So that would like get more interest in it as well. Like don't you could be like, hey, here's my NFT, you could buy it, or you could like also mention like what you could add some information about this is supposed to be fighting blasphemy laws or promoting free speech, or this is like our way of getting back at people who try to erase us for because accusing anything you want, right? But the language here could give you and you don't have to. If you think like, oh, that's too much work, I don't want to have to come up with a caption, then it's okay. You could just be like, here's my NFT, here's my Kalima NFT, go buy it, and we'll still retweet you. Okay, we might quote tweet you and add our own caption, so if you can't come up with a caption yourself, and you could do it many times. You don't have to tweet it once. Like if you keep want to promote your Sexy Cali NFT, we'll retweet you multiple times as well. Cool. Until it sells. Yeah. All right. Cool. This is great.
Yeah, this is
I'm
very
excited.
exciting. This was like
Very-
such a cool idea you came up with. This is like been
Yeah.
Armin's secret project.
Yeah. And guys, because there's a lot of shady stuff that might happen in this space, if you think we're doing something that is not ethically right, or like maybe like let us know so we could correct for that. Okay, because I want to make sure that it's pointed out to us if we're not doing something that is like you think like it might be scammy or it's not being fully transparent about some things. Like we'll listen and we'll try to make sure we do it the right way.
Yeah, this is just like
Thank
a
you.
fun way to spread sexy Kali.
Yeah. So blank. Oh yeah, it is. Blank name saying NFT is confusing. Well, guys, it will guide you. Like if you go click on, like, you don't have to like become really educated. It will. You probably are gonna need like a MetaMask wallet, right, to buy one, right? But it will just guide you. Like, hey, you want to buy this? Where's your MetaMask wallet? And then you're like, okay, I'm gonna. It just walks you through the step. You go and like, how do I get a MetaMask wallet? And you get it, and then once you have it, then you could buy this NFT or any other NFTs that you want, right? But it's kind of like installing a software or adding a browser to adding an extension to your browser, right? It's nothing like if you already have extensions on your browser, then you already have the technical know-how to be able to do this. Like it's a step-by-step thing that will just walk you through it, right? So it's not that complicated. It might seem like very complicated. Yeah, go.
Redresh is concerned that the structure that you've come up with is a pyramid scheme.
Yeah, so this is why I'm saying that you might not make your money back, right? So that's why I mentioned that like 5 or 6 times, right? So I keep saying a pyramid scheme, it would be like, hey, buy this and sell it at a higher price, and this is a good way for you to make income. We're saying this is not a way to make profit. It might make you profit. It might not make you profit. Okay. Our goal is to spread sexy Kali. So I'm trying to be very careful with the language by saying that you might want to just own sexy Kali for just like enjoying to own.
I know you don't have to resell it. I'm like, I want one just to have it.
Well, I
like
mean, if you have one and you don't resell it, okay, then it's not going to keep spreading. You know what I mean? I want these 10 sexy Kalis to keep exchanging hands. You might even sell it. You might even sell it at a loss. Okay, so if you sell it at a loss, I mean, if you really want to hold it, I guess you could hold it. There's nobody that could force you to resell it, right? But it would be a pyramid scheme if I wasn't telling you that I want you to sell it even if you're selling it at a loss, because a pyramid scheme is supposed to promise you profits, and we're not promising you any profits. What we're suggesting is that this is a way to spread Kali, everywhere on the internet in a way that is unremovable, right? So if I was promising you that you're going to make money out of it, this would be a scheme. That's what, okay? Does that make sense? Because I want to make sure that we're not doing anything sketchy here, right?
You're late for your meeting.
Oh, yeah, okay. But guys, I want to make sure that this is very important to me, because I want to make sure that we're not doing anything sketchy. So thank you for the criticism, and let me know if my response makes sense. Okay, so fair. Okay, Radish is saying fair enough. Okay, cool. All right, guys. I am late for meeting, so thank you for the first 2 buyers of Sexy Kali. And if you're not going to buy one, at least share this video so more people know about it, so we could find a way to spread Sexy Kali all over the internet. Okay, this is our way to tell people that you cannot get rid of Sexy Kali. And thank you, everybody. And make sure you like the video. Make sure you like it. Don't leave without liking this video, because the YouTube algorithm is against us, but your likes help us grow the channel. All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.